Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 392 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly gamer podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Kate Alexander, and I'm joined this week by a more subdued Mr. Daffy Moody.
The industry's on fire, Amy, so I didn't feel right if I was dancing around.
It was on fire last week.
I thought you were dancing inside your, in your mind palace. That's what you were doing. Yeah, dancing.
I'm dancing inside my mind palace. Yeah. How do you, everyone? The industry's on fire again. Thank you. It's Friday though, Video Games Day. That means you get Final Fantasy before these two. Hey.
Well, if it's Friday, I've already got it. Look, right. If I'm not playing Final Fantasy by the time this podcast drops. Whoa, I'm going to have some words. I'm going to have some words for that company, I swear. I was already not best pleased when I didn't get Like a Dragon off of them.
You could join the queue of being mad at companies.
I'm just going to end up buying games just because it's like, well, if I had bought it on my PlayStation, I would have probably cancelled on these two and be playing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm like, oh, it's cheaper if I rent it. But when the rental company doesn't get it to me on launch day, like the postman came and I was outside putting some rubbish out and he was trying to deliver a package like 2 doors before my door. And then he was like, oh, can you take this package? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, what number is it? 20. And he goes, oh, I'll see if I've got anything else for you. And I was like,
ooh.
And then he was like, oh, no, I've got nothing for you. And I was like, are you sure? You just check again.
I'm glad you stopped yourself back before calling him a utter bastard. Is that what you mean? Check again.
Empty his bag out until I find someone else's copy of Final Fantasy.
There you go.
Oh, man. We're also joined by the one and only Vitz Patel.
What's good, gamers? How's everybody doing?
That's good. It's good. Good. I played a lot of games, a lot of different games in this past week. It's just dawning on me how much gaming I've actually done. To that I wrote down that I finished. But we played Lethal Company the other day as well.
We sure did. That was a blast.
That was a blast. Why is Moody looking like?
Was he giving us the evil eye?
Where's the invite?
Well, what invite? You don't own the game.
So I can buy it.
Buy it.
Well, buy the game then.
We talked about this. We talked about this like at the beginning of the year. I said I wanted a new multiplayer game to play.
Beginning of years, literally almost 2 months ago.
And me and Vitz literally agreed in front of you that we were going to get this game, and you were like, "Oh, I don't know." So we were like, "All right, then fine."
Listening, was I?
Clearly not. Buy it. Ryan was playing it as well.
There you go.
You like Ryan?
You like us sometimes.
You'll love this game. It's great. I got killed in the spaceship.
You can kill anybody you want, buddy.
T-Rex.
Right, T-Rex. So this is Dino Crisis.
Why
just tell me this?
I may have fallen instantly into a quicksand hole.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Jumped off the ship.
It was the first match we were playing and with Ryan, and I was like, don't worry about like dying really quickly, because the very first match this is as we were leaving the ship, and this is what I was saying to Ryan. I was like, don't worry about dying really quickly, because like my first ever match with Vitz, like we opened the first door and the turret killed us. So all you have to do is do better than that. And then just as I finished that sentence, all I heard was and we left and Vitz just drowned.
So we may have had to download an update to the game just before we launched, kind of thing, and they added a few things since we last played. Quicksand being one. It was so funny.
Yeah. Oh man.
But we chased many bees away. We got stung by many bees, but we did get some bundles of honey. Yeah, so
not the bees.
Not the bees. But no, Lethal Company is awesome.
Does the shovel do friendly fire? I don't know. There's only one way to find out. Bonk.
Bonk.
Ow! It's that kind of game, really.
Turns out, friends, yes, it does.
It really does. It's just that kind of game.
And then now you bonk me on the head with this shovel. I can't be on bee duty anymore, so. Amy's on shovel duty now.
I'm pretty sure like you got me to swing the shovel at the bees, which I didn't really understand the logic of, but I'm pretty sure I clocked Riot in the head on his way back in.
Yes. Oh, yeah, standard.
So yeah, I guess you could kill him. Just buy his shovel and beat him to death with it. But then we'll lose money, so don't do that. Anyway, how's everyone's week been?
It's been good. Well, no, it's been okay. No, I want to. It's been a week.
So
The world is on fire, and I'm just waiting for the day when the story isn't gonna be, developers are laid off. It's developers are laid, because developers are labeled the hottest people ever. When are we gonna get that story? That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I can write that story right now.
There you go. We got a new headline for the podcast.
This is so my sources tell me.
I've heard.
Which ones are these? Mayo, ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce?
Barbecue sauce. It's the fact that they're still fucking at it, man. Like, daily basis now, I go through like Eurogamer, game developer, whatever website I'm on, and it's like, well, this person said that they heard, and it's just like, guys, this isn't how this works. Stop it. The Switch 2 has been delayed. The Switch 2 hasn't been announced. How can it be delayed if it hasn't been announced?
It's been delayed.
How?
I don't know. Well, it's been
Must have told me.
Sources of my sources.
Yeah.
Uncles, friends, janitor sources.
Like, I hope that console comes out at the end of this year. Not for like me wanting to play new Nintendo games or anything like that. Just out of spite. I want
just to prove everybody wrong,
the Switch 2 to come out in like fucking November. Just out of fucking spite at this point. I'll have fun on that podcast.
You tell me you don't have fun right now?
I'll have extra fun. I'll what's that German word? Schadenfreude. However you pronounce it. Yeah, that'll be the whole theme of the podcast. How's your week been, Moody?
Yeah, it's been all right. Worked, came home, worked, came home. Nothing much of significance, but yeah, not bad. I can't complain. Give me time though. I'll find a way.
I was gonna say you can definitely. I'm sure you can find one if you tried.
I can find a way. Life always finds a way to complain about itself. So.
Oh, I should show people the thing I found. I should I found my things.
Audio listeners, Amy's gone off to find a thing. Oh yeah,
I found my games consoles.
Yeah, oh yeah, you showed us those and they work and everything, which is amazing.
They actually work. Yeah, I've got a 3DS. I tried the 3D and it was like, whoa.
Did you give you a
Yeah, it went.
I was like, what's this switch on the side do? Whoa!
Turn that shit off.
And this one's
James
more.
Cameron, what have you done to us?
And this one's the more impressive one. That actually works. I don't think you can see it working on the. Oh, you can.
Oh, yeah, we can. Yeah,
because it's the shitty Game Boy screen with backlight.
For audio listeners, Amy's holding up her Game Boy Advance.
It's using the remotes out of the batteries out of a remote because I was like, oh yeah, it needs double A batteries.
How's that the idea of your family like trying to change the channel? Why is this shit not working?
I can't remember to put them back.
Xbox controllers still.
Not in this house. But yeah, no, like I've like. But do you know what else? Maybe Boomerang still rent out DS games.
Nice.
So guess you just filled their fucking rental queue with Pokemon.
Nice respect.
Are you still
Well,
taking
okay, the new one is
suggestions
for
for
next year now,
games?
so
Yeah, what do you got?
3 words: Elite Beat Agents.
I'll see if it's on there. They don't have everything. Like
Okay.
there's some Pokemon games missing. What was funny was they have a game I came across while I was making my credit video essay, Radiant Historia.
Nice.
So I was like, oh, like it sounds pretty cool. And I remember like when I got the DS, I was like, I looked it up and it was like, it's one of the most expensive DS games like to buy because it's so rare. Boomerang have it, and I'm like, I've added it to my queue, and I'm like, you guys aren't going to send me a game worth 150 quid, right? That's not going to happen, yeah.
How much are they selling it for? Because obviously they sell that game.
Well, they don't sell it separately, but I'm wondering if they have a keep it option.
Yeah, or how much is the loss
And
fee?
it's like
versus the value of the
or
game.
it's like the game might go missing.
I would like to retract my recommendation of Elite Beat Agents because I just remembered how you and rhythm-based action games
Yeah, we're not.
You aren't best friends, so
We're not good close buddies.
but I'll come up with some more.
But yeah, no, like, DS man, I'm gonna be all over this thing.
There you go.
Awesome, that is awesome. I've contemplated buying an old one, like a second-hand one, and everything, because like I used to have one years ago. But I'm just
This
like,
isn't mine. This
is now.
I mean, it is now. But this was actually my mom's, and she played Professor Layton games on it, but she obviously hadn't used it for so long, and I was like, like it's mine now. I'm going to play Pokemon on it.
She's clearly not using this.
Yeah,
so...
she's not using this. I found it underneath the Game Boy.
Which is obviously mine already, so it's like
the Game Boy was mine.
They've for so long, they've obviously just become mine automatically.
I totally forgot. I actually owned this. I've only got like 4 games lying around for it, and they're all like, you can tell I owned this when I was younger.
Amy, can I pitch an idea to you?
Go on.
So we do a shot-for-shot remake of the Beyonce Dr. Karishima's brain training advert, but it's you instead of Beyonce.
I mean, I don't know that advert, but I mean.
Okay, yes, let's do it.
Unfortunately, Boomerang doesn't rent out Game Boy games.
Oy.
And also, the Pokemons on Game Boy are really expensive.
I'm more curious of just how far back in their office do they have to go to find these?
I'm going to find out. I'm sending back Pokemon. I'm sending back Pokemon Violet. And literally, like, all of the games on my list are now DS games. So I'm like, good luck, fuckers.
How much dust is going to come off these boxes?
I'm just waiting for them to get Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
They're going to get removed from the site, like, one after the other. Like, this
fucking... CMS, take it down.
This fucking bitch.
She wants to go back in the back of our office.
She wants Pokemon Y. What the fuck?
There's a new one coming next year. Why?
Yeah. Why the fuck does she want that? She can have Scarlet. She's trying to get Pokemon Diamond out. What the fuck?
They're probably checking to see if they still work.
Probably. That'll be my job.
Check if they still work for us. If they don't, just keep them.
But yeah, old games. This my excavations, which I've done over the course of a few weeks, have turned this room into a Nintendo zone. Because I now have 5 Nintendo consoles in here.
Correct.
I got the GameCube working as well, which I showed you a video of. Which was funny because I remembered complaining about Wind Waker to you last week. And then I was like, I have Wind Waker, I have a working GameCube. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Amy is just like Thanos, for real. Fine, I'll do it myself.
But yeah, no, like, I was never a Nintendo kid, but apparently now I'm a Nintendo adult.
Hell yes.
I blame Moody.
I blame myself as well.
I went on the Pokemon database website, and I scrolled through Bulbasaur's entry, and I was like, "What is the newest game that actually has Bulbasaur in it?" That one, add to list.
There you go.
That's which one's that? Why?
I don't remember the one that's on my list. X and Y.
Why? Yeah, it'll be X and Y because you get a choice of having one of the Kanto starters, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander. And you get the Mega Stone with them and everything, so yeah.
That's cool. That was part of Pokemon Day. They added threads and stuff with that to Violet just as I finished it. They're like, here's an update. And I'm like, oh, thanks.
Did they run better now?
Does the update make the game fucking not run in slow motion? No? Okay. Oh, I got some stories to tell.
Nintendo.
The anime might not give you seizures anymore, but the game might.
It's something to me on a physical level. Oh, man. Well. Here we are, yet again. Video game day. Which Moody always says is a good thing. When I look at
It's
this,
starting to question it.
I look at this Google document I have in front of me every video game day. And it's like, is that a good thing?
Yeah, it's been a week.
Should we just get it out of the way? And then like
Let's do it.
everything after this will be like fun and nice. Mostly.
Debatable. That's debatable,
Mostly.
but yeah.
Well, I liked the games I'm going to talk about, so you know.
Good. That means I can buy one, and that's great. Okay.
This
I
is
wasn't too sure. I was going to wait until you said if you liked it or not. And I was like, oh, that's good then.
if it's what I'm
You
thinking of,
completed it, so I'm guessing.
wait until I tell you about it. Before that, I don't want to end up in another Neo situation. Vitz doesn't know that story. I gave
Maybe a little bit fair.
I gave Neo a 10 out of 10 review on this podcast once, and it convinced someone else on that podcast to buy it. Bearing in mind, I talked about it for like 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden, I just got a message off him being like, "Oh, I bought a PlayStation 4." And I bought and like here are the all of the games that he could have got with it. And then he got Neo, and I was like, "Why did you get Neo?" And he went, "Because you thought because you gave it a 10 out of 10." I was like, "It's a Souls-like. You hate those kind of games."
That's why we don't do review scores anymore.
Did you listen to a word I said?
You heard what every gamer hears. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Exactly.
No.
I
wasn't taking responsibility for that, man. But
I wouldn't hold it against you if I don't like the game. Like, I've just bought freaking Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I didn't really click with Remake. There's a chance I might not click with Rebirth. I'm going to be okay with that.
I'm going to be disgustingly obsessed with Rebirth for the next month.
That's what is fair.
Big same.
And I
Big
hope I'm
same.
the same. I hope I'm absolutely the same. I hope I am. If I'm not, I guess it's Football Manager for me.
The Baldur's Gate approach, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, yeah. If you don't click with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just jump into Baldur's Gate 3.
There you go.
Yeah, but
It's the same length of time.
Football Manager's already installed, so it's like...
Why don't you actually play all of the games that are coming out in the next month that I'm obviously not going to play?
I would probably just move over to, like, Pacific Drive, you know? Like,
yeah, that's fair. I'll talk about that later, though. But yeah. Yeah, so like, as Moody alluded to in the opening of the podcast, the industry is indeed on fire.
More on fire than it was last week.
Let me just hit this refresh button because that number is wrong.
Yeah.
There it is. So yeah, which part would you like to start at? There are 3 flavors of shit in this shit sandwich.
I think basically, you know, all just can combined into one
The
because of like
approach.
there's it's just dive head first because like obviously I don't know if you saw all the other links that I've added into our Discord chat and everything, which is of more people have been fired and everything.
Yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure.
So I think basically this can be a combination of just like chatting about it all.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the approach. Yeah, the Kotaku thing, because Kotaku have been, for anyone who doesn't know, we covered this on the first proper episode of the podcast back. Kotaku have been keeping track of all of the video game layoffs and are constantly updating an article with the number. And we haven't talked about the article specifically since that first time, but it's been in the doc every week, and I update the number every week. The fact that I have to keep changing it, the fact that I can't keep up, is not great.
My question, well, it's not a question. Like, it's this: how bad is the industry of the journalistic industry of like it's Kotaku? One of the worst sites out there are the ones who are keeping up an article, refreshing it, adding new shit every week. all the time. I'm not saying other places aren't talking about it, because like one of them is like from
One
the
is,
amazing
yeah.
Rebecca Valentine from IGN, who's absolutely amazing, and I read her piece. It's amazing but horrifying at the same time, because of just, like, we know what's happening. The Sony one, and I think she put, or was it the EA one? Either way, like, yeah. So it's like, with Kotaku, like, they're the ones who are keeping up a live count. Which I don't know if it's sick or not yet. I haven't decided, because it's like, it's a constant reminder, which is, we should never forget this. You know, this is a thing that's massively important that we've been shouting about basically for the last half of last year, I would say, and it all started to truly kick off. And yeah.
So for context, folks, I think 2023 ended with around about 10,000 people being laid off. It's the end of February, and we're at 8,100 of the ones that we know about. Of the ones that have been publicized. Sorry, over 8,100. We're about to be in Dragon numbers again now, people.
Hate that I laughed at that. It's like, it's a good one. I think the thing to remember about like other media sites that not like keeping a live tracker going is one. If one site's already doing it, I don't know if every site needs to do it, but also like games media is going through something quite similar at the moment.
Yeah,
I know.
So like I can understand why maybe the resources aren't there to keep track of. Like for all the different sites to keep track of this stuff. Plus, some sites just have different priorities. Like GameDeveloper.com is one of my favorite sites, not just because they do new stuff, but because they have blogs by game devs, and like game devs talk about all sorts of like development stuff as well, which I always find really interesting to read. For example, but
Yes.
yeah, it's been a shit week. It started with Sony laying off 900, closing PlayStation London.
Yeah.
Which that one hit a bit different for me than all the other ones, because I've been to PlayStation London. I interviewed at PlayStation London. I was going to job at PlayStation London. I know a lot of people at PlayStation London, and just to like see that the studio is being closed is just unreal. And I imagine because a lot of the PlayStation stuff that we heard about was centered around the UK as well. So I imagine Moody, this one hit for a bit for you as well, because you've obviously worked for PlayStation UK before.
To my knowledge, I don't believe anyone at Liverpool's really been affected by this. I'm thankfully, should I say, for that. But yeah, this is just absolute crap, especially for like just for the UK scene alone. Like, the UK scene industry is like a vibrant industry a few years ago, and now we've just like thousands of people are getting sacked practically weekly and everything like that. It basically truly off last year when Team 17 sacked all their QA team off and everything, and it's just a constant reminder all the time of just like, this may be an amazing industry that we love and support and everything, but it's also an industry that can just literally slap you. Basically, Mike Tyson punch you basically from out of nowhere, and you're out, and you don't know what the hell's just happened. It's like, it's a slap in the face, and I hope everyone lands on their feet as soon as possible. There's another thing which I'll bring up later on about it, which it's just like, my heart's just breaking every time I see all this.
Yeah, and it's like completely unavoidable because it happens every day. Like now, I feel like when I said the week started with Sony, it's like I had to double check myself thinking that, where it was like, it's been a long fucking week. Like, I'm like,
over yet as well.
I'm like, it's like, you know, those old file effects things where you go through all the different cards.
The
Rolodex,
Rolodex,
like, in my brain, I was going through the Rolodex of all the different companies that have announced layoffs in the past 4 days. Like, was Sony this week? Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah. To your point, I know personally know people who are SIE UK, Sony Interactive Entertainment, for those who need the acronym decoding kind of thing. And yeah, it's been a tough week. The only, I don't want to say the only silver lining, but there's one grace in terms of course, Sony laid off 900 people across America and Europe and those in Japan as well. But thankfully, for the folks affected in the UK, they are, because of the way the laws work over here, they have to enter a period of consultation with whether that's going to turn out positively or make sure people get severance and all the rest of it. That's obviously up in the air. But at least they're having that conversation. It's not just like in America where those contracts have been cut and then that's it. Clear your desk, you're out the door. In Japan, they have essentially career counselors, which is going to work with each person who's been affected and help them find another place of work. So I think it just speaks to the different cultures and the different legal setups that they have in their respective countries. So while it is, of course, it's terrible to be in this situation, it is slightly better for people in slightly different parts of the world.
Like, yeah, I remember, I think I shared with us, I don't know if it was a video or an article about like Japanese developers. You don't really hear much about like firings and everything from them. You hear it like for like in America or the UK and Europe and everything. But you don't hear much about from Japanese because they've got really good laws over there that kind of help protect their people where they like trying to help them find another job and everything. And like America, where it's basically just throw you out like trash.
Yeah, that's it.
And over here, like what you said, that we have some kind of reassurance and safety a little bit over here. But goddamn, like if we had the Japanese one, I'd be like, I would feel a little bit more comfortable without like with everything. But yeah, it's kind of crap. It's crap whenever you lose your job, but at least like in Japan, like they're trying to help them find somewhere else as soon as possible and everything because they know and whatnot. But
thankfully we have pretty decent labour laws in the UK because of our past membership of the EU. But
good time.
yeah, those were good times. But yeah, no, like obviously the Japanese labour law thing is an excellent point to bring up. But I shared a video in our Discord that someone linked me by Moon Videos. I want to say it's a YouTube channel called Moon Videos. It's a channel I'd not encountered before, which was about an hour long and sort of going through an explanation of why this is happening like now. And it was actually a really interesting and insightful video because it also talked about like, hey, Nintendo, don't do this. Why is that? And then you went into why that is, and it's a fundamental sort of. I'm not gonna like sit here and like break the entire video down. I'm gonna give you a probably mangled summary, but essentially, Western game studios specifically emulate like the way they're run emulates big tech companies, and big tech companies are propelled by hype. So you were like imagine like Facebook, for example, when the metaverse was the big hype thing. Obviously, like they hired a fucking bazillion people and put a lot of money into it, and that was to get investors to invest money in it. And it's the same thing in the games industry, where we've just seen Microsoft, for example, go on this massive spending spree. They're buying all this stuff because investment was going up in games, and the idea was to get investors to look at Microsoft and go, oh shit, these guys like fucking they're getting all these fucking studios and they're doing this, they're doing all this stuff. This is where we should put our money. We're going to get our return on our investment. And what we're seeing now is it's like the boom and bust cycle, and what we're seeing now is the beginning of the bust cycle. So a company like PlayStation, for example, being like the pertinent one this week, has a lot of excess to cut. And I know this sounds horrible, like to explain it in these terms, but they have a lot of excess that they can cut. And what that's doing is that's making investors not panic, because obviously the return on investments are going to go down because we're in a bust cycle. But what the layoffs and the studio closures, and obviously they'll be getting rid of like property and offices and stuff as well. What that's intended to do is to reassure investors to say it's there. Oh, we're being responsible during this time of economic downturn. And then the investors don't go, oh shit, I better sell all my shares. They go, okay, like this is cool. That's what.
It's not just conspicuous consumption of like bankrolls and things like that.
Yeah, that's what this is for. And then what you'll see in another couple of years, probably like 2-3 years, say, is the beginning of the next hype cycle, and Microsoft and PlayStation and other companies that are being run in this way will start hiring fucking shitloads and opening studios and buying studios, and then we go through this whole cycle again. And it fucking sucks. Like, I've given that explanation. I hated every word that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're treating real people who make really cool stuff and like pour themselves into like their passion, and that's how they get trapped because that's how these companies are run. And it's different with Nintendo because Nintendo isn't being run like a big tech company. That's why you don't see Nintendo doing mass layoffs like all the time, closing studios, doing all the stuff you've seen from other companies do, like Nintendo of Japan, I should say.
Yeah,
but like also Nintendo Japan also know it's like, these people created a really good game. It would be stupid to get rid of them as well. It's like they retain their staff. Like you don't see all of the great people who have created some of their most iconic IPs saying we are now creating games for Xbox and PlayStation. No, they keep them under their own umbrella and everything like that and whatnot. And it's just like, yeah.
If you wanna get a grasp of how drastic this situation at Sony is, that they were letting people go. They were laying off people at studios like Naughty Dog and Insomniac Games, and Insomniac Games have been producing, I think it's 4 titles for the PS5 generation so far. Each of them in their own right have been absolute bangers, and it's kind of, what more do you expect them to do? And still, they are having to lay off people to your point, Amy, that you were saying, kind of thing.
Sorry to cut across you there, but I just want to be like crystal clear. It should go without saying that they don't need to do this. Like PlayStation have a ton of money in the bank. They could weather a storm like the one that's coming. Keep all of their staff, keep all of their studios, keep making games, keep making money off of console sales. They don't need to do this to survive as a company. They just need to do this to keep their investors and their shareholders on board.
1,000%. All of these companies are still making profits. Not one of them is making a series of losses. It's just in this whole, let's say, capitalism cycle, if you got to make more profit than you did last year, and not just by a little bit, by a lot, otherwise, investors are going to leave and all the rest of it. It just sucks.
It's because I've seen on social media. Sorry, Moody. It's because I've seen on social media a lot of people talking about how this is we talk about, is the video game industry going to crash? This is the crash, and it's not really. Like, as someone who did a bunch of research about the 1983 video game crash not that long ago, like that was caused by a company like sacking all of their staff, all of their talented staff, and then making shit games and flooding the market with shit games, and then people stop buying games. I don't think we're going to be there, because I don't think that the video game industry is a lot bigger than it was. But at the same time, again, to your point, Vitz, to just really reinforce your point, all of these companies are still making profits and will continue to make profits. And
in the US, the video game industry grew 4% last year. So the money is there, the consumers are there. There's more gamers every single day coming to the industry. It's just they happen to be spending their money in a different ways than what has traditionally been the case. In terms of, it might be the case that they're not buying as many consoles as they did before, kind of thing, because they're using more cloud streaming, or they're getting a Game Pass on PCs and things like that. And it's one of these where they placed a lot of bets quite recently, and now the ramifications of the bets are coming to a head. And like you said, like, investors are starting to lose faith because, oh no, they're forecasted to not sell as many PlayStation 5 units as they originally forecasted. Therefore, the sky must be falling. Let's all bail out, and $10 billion worth of value comes off the stock index, kind of thing. And
so you make layoffs to not to make extra money, not to survive as a company, just to appease the investors, to stop your shares from being sold.
Sorry, Moody, I cut across you.
No, don't worry about it, honestly. It's like we've spoken on multiple occasions, like, will we get another industry crash and everything? I don't know if we'll get to the level of what it was in the 80s and everything, where basically there was no games at all, basically. In
Japan, they called it the Atari shock.
I can believe that.
Fun fact.
But I think there's a chance of just like, let's say, employer crash type of thing instead, where they're sacking so many of these people who you may not get back into the industry.
Nope.
They'll piss off onto the software services, software companies, and just where they'll get. They'll get one paid way more better than what they are getting in the video game industry anyway, which just sucks. It absolutely sucks and everything. Like one of the developers who have gone through this is one of my favorite developers of all time, who I've spoken on multiple occasions. Deck 9. Deck 9 have laid off. I think it says 20%. I thought I want to get the article up to be factually right on my side. There's 20%, I think, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I've stated on many occasions, I'll reiterate this. Deck 9 is the company who saved my life in 2021. I've stated this on many occasions. They released a game that fundamentally saved me in Life is Strange True Colors. And I'll always forever be grateful to them. And to know they're going through this as well is just hurts, and it just slaps me in the it just slaps me in the face. I sound really, I don't know if that sounds right, that, but it hurts. It hurts because like.
Sorry, I completely get where you're coming from in terms of obviously video games are an interactive medium and we get emotionally invested in these things, and obviously the stories that they tell impact us on a deeper level, at least for me. I don't want to speak for everybody, but from then say watching movies or TV or whatever it happens to be. I think one of the beautiful stories from Deck 9 is that we hear from the leadership that they explored every single option in terms of leadership taking pay cuts and whatnot, doing everything they can to avoid this situation. And we don't hear that at all from many other people.
Well, no, Jim Ryan was at PlayStation London 5, 6, 7 days ago, whenever it was.
Sure was.
Fucking, as they were giving
that
him
motherfucker knew.
As they were giving him like a tearful farewell, because this is like his last action before he fucks off into the sunset. And honestly, like I wish he'd done it a couple of years ago, but he knew. The motherfucker knew.
Yeah, the motherfucker knew.
Like, you're not taking a pay cut.
And he stood there and smiled in front of all them people.
None of those boys at PlayStation executive level are taking a pay cut. Shit, we heard from fucking Bungie when Bungie did their layoffs. One of the executives in a town hall said to an employee's face, when they asked, "Oh, did you explore taking pay cuts at the executive level?" Quote, "We're not that kind of company." So I got props for Deck 9 and their executives or whatever for actually doing the thing.
Doing the thing, yeah.
At least making a try and everything. There's no doubt about that. I'll still say you should have released the Expanse all at once.
That's what you're wrong.
Fucking seriously. But if I didn't lighten it up a little bit, I think I would have cried here. But yeah, it's absolutely crap. Like, you got from like the DICE Awards, the people from Baldur's Gate 3. Literally saying, "Stop effing firing my friends."
Yep.
And it's just like, what?
Because
and then,
quote, but I think for me the most important thing to figure out how to make it all sustainable, because our mistakes create victims, and trying to reduce that as much as possible, I think, will ultimately be what makes this industry continue to be successful. We need people to be able to be employed to make the games that people like, and that's going to be tough. It's tough now. It always was tough, and it's going to get tougher. So that's the biggest challenge. How do we keep everyone fucking employed? Which I think is a challenge for everyone right now, but that's our industry, end quote. That was Michael Dowse, the director of publishing at Larian Studios, creators of Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they were allowed to speak, Jeff Keighley, just so you know that.
I've got some extra beef.
I have some fucking karate chops for that motherfucker, let me tell you.
We've got some beef to squash with that.
But not yet. Yeah, no, like the thing that baffles me is, like, I wasn't 100. I noticed when I was talking about this isn't the video game crash, I wasn't like 100% committed to the statement this won't crash, because again, we're losing a lot of very talented video game developers, which is one of the core things that caused the Atari shock in 1983. And the other part is, and again, this is mostly focused on PlayStation, but I think this can be applied to a lot of other big studios that have been going through this stuff, is that I don't understand the strategy here. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I just explained and said I understand the layoffs as much as I completely hate them. Like, I understand why they're doing them, even if I think it's a stupid idea. And you don't toy with, like, people's lives like that. But I don't understand how doubling down on large games that take 8 years to make and cost hundreds of millions of dollars is going to dig you out of the hole that you're currently in. the whole reason, and I'm going to bring it back to Nintendo, the whole reason Nintendo can weather storms like the Wii U debacle was they make games of varying different sizes that take varying different amounts of time. You don't see a 3D Mario game very often, but you see a bunch of 2D Mario games in between. Like,
I think it was.
Sorry, no, I'm done.
No, I was going to say, Sony, I'll say this. Why the hell did you get rid of Sean Layden? Like, he had it. He said it. He said it. He said thinking he wants to make cheaper, smaller games where we're pumping them out on a better rate and everything like that.
That's what PlayStation used to do.
Yeah. Like where people have been complaining, I was thinking like when the Sony did their whole announcement last week and everything, was like, wait, we're at the halfway cycle of this generation, we've barely had any exclusive games and everything. Yeah, because they take what you said, Amy, 6, 7, 8 years to bloody make. Like, and they pushed themselves so hard into doing live service games that I hope I channeled my Steph Sterling perfectly there. I felt like
it's a terrible impression.
In me there.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
But it's like they pushed so hard into that everybody was like, "Are you fucking nuts? We're gonna do half live service games
60%.
and half." Well, 60%. Yeah, you know what I meant. And the rest, 40% of single-player games, the things that you love us to do, but we're gonna push on this thing that you really don't want us to fucking do. So we're what? We're not gonna. I'll be very surprised if we actually get a Naughty Dog game this year, this generation, which is fucking insane to think when they've all we got is remakes of 2 great games. I love The Last of Us 1 and 2.
Yep.
Like, I'll stand by that to the end of fucking days, but we're not going to get a Last of Us 3 or a new IP from them this generation because of their terrible flipping mismanagement of this whole thing. They say, you must give us a live service Last of Us game or Uncharted game. Like, seriously. And the same goes for like people at the Horizon Zero Dawn team, Gorilla Games, and like what you were saying, Vitz, like Insomniac have literally been throwing out games for you, making you millions, and they aren't even immune of this, which is insane to think. And like, and I'm not saying this thinking, well, because they've thrown out games, they shouldn't get hit. I was thinking, no one should get hit. Like what you said, Amy.
No one should
have
get
the
hit.
money to be able to withstand this.
Yeah.
It's because investors want to see a return on their money constant every single year. They don't want to see, well, last year we only made a 2%, so we're going to guarantee you a 4% update this year, or 2025 or something. It's just like, I have no problem at all with people making money. I have no problem with that. But you've got to realize to make money, you need to have the people in the positions to create the product you want at a high standard to get it out for you. And you are not allowing this. Like, it's the same as like what I see, like when I've stated on many occasions that I am bafflingly scared for BioWare. With how EA are acting with them and everything. Like, they've messed around with games and money and everything all over the place that they need Dragon Age, Direwolf, or whatever to land. And if that doesn't land, I'm petrified to think what could happen with that.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. Like, they've already had cuts. Sorry for speaking over you there, Vitz. I apologize. They've just done cuts themselves to say we're reorganized because we need to, basically, to make ourselves more efficient. I think their statement was agile. Yes, thank you, Amy. And we know that's a load of bollocks. They know it's like, you've made us spend all of this money without any proper return, BioWare. You need to reduce to give us some money back, type of thing. And if they don't, like, people are like, yes, I'm excited for maybe the next Mass Effect. I'm worried that we may never get that next Mass Effect. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh.
To that point, even if we do get a Mass Effect, who's going to be the team behind it? Because I was thinking, like, the team is going to be vastly different from the one that's there.
This was the section of the video that I cut about crediting. I cut an entire section of the video because it didn't fit anywhere about like, and it was, I used Mass Effect as the example. I was like, well, everybody's excited for Mass Effect, but it's not the people who made Mass Effect that are making it. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But it means you might need to change your expectations around a bit. Anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, no, like, there was a Sean Layden clip that was floating around after the PlayStation news on social
believe that.
medias. Yeah, at E3 2013, I want to say 2014, something like that, where he was on stage talking about PlayStation's history, and he was talking about Viv
I think
Ribbon.
that's basically his first year in charge.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry for putting in that.
He looked like a mafia boss, and I remember his first appearance. I remember being on Twitter being like, who's this mafia-looking motherfucker? He's just come out on stage. But he was talking about Viv Ribbon in a really nice speech that I don't want to like butcher by trying to paraphrase it too much. But one of the things he mentioned was like, look, that game didn't sell 1 million, but it's part of the spirit of PlayStation at the time. To create all sorts of different types of experience. PlayStation create one type of experience now, and it's a very, very good type of experience, but you can't build a company on games that cost $200 to $300 million to make, probably another $200 to $300 million to market, and take almost a decade to make. And if they fail, you're fucked. And again, I'm talking about PlayStation because they're sort of the main character this week. But like, you can apply this to a bunch of different big studios right now.
Yeah.
The one point I did want to touch on is that I've seen a lot on social media that all these layoffs will lead to another kind of renaissance for indie devs, and all these people are going to set up their own indie studios and whatnot.
With what money?
Exactly, that was what I was going to say. That we want what money, and then in this economy right now, the investment game is not so hot. And in terms of all we're seeing is the larger video game companies, they're laying off to appease shareholders and all the rest of it. The money just isn't there, or the faith isn't there to the investment for the investors to put their money in indie devs and indie studios right now. So no, to your point, like we're just going to lose these people, and then they're gonna hopefully land themselves in much better paying jobs in better circumstances, and they'll think, okay, I'm not doing what I'm passionate about, but hey, I'm able to make rent this month.
Yeah, I can feed myself. Like, I mean, we just saw the developer of the Salt Sea Chronicles, the game that came out last year. Like, they've had it shut down because they just can't fund their next game. Like, I get what the thought process is, because for the last few years, a lot of developers have left AAA to move and either make their own studios or join somebody else's indie studio. But again, that was during the boom times when the investment money was there. You could do that. Now you can't. There's barely any investment for PlayStation and Microsoft and Ubisoft. Like, no one's gonna fucking invest in a tiny little indie studio that's gonna have some small returns. Like, the people that are currently getting laid off need to find jobs at established studios. You're going to see very few indie startups coming along unless those are indie startups by career game developers with big names, or they've somehow got a lot of money in the bank to do it themselves. Like, because the investment's not... That was one of the key things that came out of DICE that I was seeing people talking about one of the topics of conversation at DICE. There's just no investment out there for the smaller devs. 2024 is survive. That's the objective for a lot of smaller developers. Sorry, Moody, is survive. That's the only objective they have this year.
Basically, yes, that is true. And then it's the worry of just like, so AAA games take 6 to 8 years now to create. They are stretched out like crazy, and we don't know how long they could come out broken or come out brilliantly. Who knows? But the length is incredibly stressful. Or you've got an indie game who just can't do it because they need to be able to feed themselves or feed their families or support their families or support themselves. And they can't do it because there's no investment. Because the big studios are not willing to invest because they have to appease their shareholders. Endless circle of shit.
If you take a step back and look at the Sony strategy of, okay, we want to do live service games because that's where the hotness was, or it was, where it was, and you think, okay, you have one of the most powerful IPs on the planet in The Last of Us in terms of the video games. Everybody loves those, the large majority of people, and you've got the HBO show, and everybody's popping off for it, and they can't wait for season 2 and all the rest of it. If your premier studio in Naughty Dog, for a better term, kind of thing, if they can't make a games as a service, a live service game work with The Last of Us, and they can't find the fun in it, so much so that Bungie Leslie took a look at it and said, "This ain't it, chief." So they scuttled it. then what hope do you have for anything else? And I know people take the example of, well, Helldivers 2 is popping off right now, and it is, and congratulations to Arrowhead and everybody at the team there. However, I don't think the games as a service and the live service element of that game is what's succeeding for them. It's the experience of PvE and multiplayer and all that jazz. It's not so much the long tail of, okay, here's the next battle pass, and going on and so forth, and saying, okay, we've made X amount of money through microtransactions this month.
It's because the game does have microtransactions, it has all of the live service trappings, but it's because Helldivers was designed to be a fucking good game. The reason that Helldivers and Palworld have both popped off in a way that Suicide Squad has completely fucking tanked, and Skull and Bones have both completely fucking tanked, is because Skull and Bones and Suicide Squad were designed to make money by being a live service game. Helldivers and Palworld were designed to be games. And it probably helps that both of those games aren't $70 games, because there's an elephant in the room here, which is like all of a sudden everything's starting to flatline because console prices have gone up, games prices have gone up, but the money people are earning has not gone up. And like, I can see this vision of PlayStation within the next couple of years saying, sorry guys, we're going to have to charge more money again at $80. It's
$100 games coming up,
$80 games, and it's like that's not going to make you more money. Like, stop.
I think the only studio that could get away with that is the only developer who can get away with that is Rockstar. Well, I think if GTA 6 came out at $100, people would pay that premium.
I think there are individual games, like Nintendo did this last year. I think there are individual games where you will get enough. Yeah, you will get enough people. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 100% would have still sold really well. Even if it was $80 instead of $70. Nintendo did this with one game, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, because they knew people were going to buy Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. If they set Princess Peach Showtime at $70, no one would buy that game.
I love you, Peach, but goddamn, I'm not paying that much.
And they know that, but like the $70 price point is becoming this blanket thing where like PlayStation think they can just charge $70 for everything. EA think they can just charge $70 for everything. Immortals of Aveum probably would have done quite well at like a $40 price tag, 100%. The same price tag that Helldivers has. But instead it was $70, and people just weren't willing to pay that for a game that didn't look amazing. Like it was a chance that you were going to have to take on that game if you wanted to buy that game. It's like, I'm going to have to take a chance on this. And I don't want to take a chance on this because I can spend my $70 on something that I know I'm probably more likely to enjoy than Immortals of Aveum, which sucks for the Immortals of Aveum team.
And $70 is worth more and more to the individual gamer these days because of the times we
It's
live in.
such a big percentage of people's wage.
This is also, it's like two massive games came out this last 2 weeks that have popped off like crazy. What aren't AAA games? I don't even think they're even both AA games. I think they're both indie games, and they've sold incredibly well. And that is the Pacific Drive and that card game that you bought for me last week, Electro, which I put in the thing. They've made $1 million in 4 hours.
Profitable within an hour.
That's amazing. You know this thing. It's about having a great game. It's not about having a massive game or anything like that where you have to fill it with everything. Or fill it with make it as big as you can and think this is what people want. No, they wouldn't. Like how crazy! This is what I'll go back to this every time for this type of argument. Last year we put 2 games that was as the game of the year for us. One was a massive 100+ hour game, and one was an 80-minute game. How fucking crazy is that? And we all admit, probably both games, we would probably say, I would pay £100 for both of those games because they both affected us in all different ways. Because they deserve it. Because one Baldur's Gate is to what I'm going off what you guys say and what everyone else does on the internet is an absolutely fucking masterclass and a masterpiece for the whatever masterpiece level it is to a lot of people of how great a game can be. And Vember is such a small little intimate game that just slapped in such the best ways. And it's 80 minutes long, and the gameplay is nothing really compared to what Baldur's Gate gameplay is. It's like that's how crazy that is, and it's more.
There's more gameplay in the tutorial of Baldur's Gate.
No, but you know what I mean. That's how crazy it is. Like,
I think
it's getting that worth.
Sorry, I get what you're saying. I want to build on what you're saying because I think you just touched on the 2 things that make games pop off if people notice them. I know there's a whole marketing and discoverability thing that we're not talking about right now, but like you've selected the two most perfectest games for this conversation topic we're talking about, because Venba was a game that the people at the studio, whose name I've forgotten, I apologize, have made a game they wanted to make. It's a passion project. They've made exactly what they wanted to make, and it comes through in the game. That's why you and Vitz loved it so much. That's why I liked it a lot. And then on the other hand, you've got Baldur's Gate 3, which is the culmination of a team of people spending a decade making CRPGs. You've got the Divinity Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin 2, leading to Baldur's Gate 3, which was their magnum opus. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 would not have been as good as it was if they hadn't have retained the amount of staff that they had between those three different games, and they hadn't learned from making those previous two games. So those two games are like the really perfect. It's like, these are the types of games you need to be making. The director of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth said exactly the same thing not that long ago, which was, we put this game out within 4 years, and it's to such a high quality because we've retained like 90% of the fucking team that made Remake. So we knew what we were doing.
Visaya Games is the studio behind Venba.
Thank you. It's like, what was it? 2020. We were always talking about like The Last of Us, and like the reports were all coming out of like they got rid of a lot of their senior team and brought in young people. And I think, and from the documentary, what we've just watched, it kind of sees, yeah, they kind of did that, but they also were like, they put also they also, I'm hoping now, because of how that documentary ended, they're investing into those people as well, because like we saw one of them who was like a QA tester, I think, at the beginning. By the end of it, was like a senior developer for one of their positions, which is incredible. And I hope that now that starts to totally go into it. And I think that's probably how Insomniac works, because I think they've retained a lot of people. Sadly, they've also been hit with this over the last few. That's 36, 48, 72 bloody hours. But like, yeah, that's why I think they've been able to bat out Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man 2, potentially a Wolverine within the like next 24 months. Rumored. Who knows? The sources. Which type of sauce flavor will reveal that this month or this year? And it's like,
the chips never lied to me.
But you can't. But that's what they need to do, and they like, it's like what we always go back to: sustainability, and it's not only just for money wise, but also team wise. If you can keep that team and grow them and improve them, you will be able to get a team flowing. I truly believe that's just like banging game out of game after game after game after game in different sizes, like a small, like a 10-hour game, or a giant 60, 70-hour game out at the same time, not in the same time, but in like the same like generational window, and they're getting rave reviews and love and everything and plaudits. I truly believe that can be done, and this is what the industry needs to do. I hope this is something that will happen. Do I trust the team, the owner, the bosses to be able to do this? No, because they think of one people and one people only, and that's the goddamn shareholders.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see. I don't think we'll ever get this information, but who at Naughty Dog was let go? Was it this new production team that came in, or the producers who were at that level to kind of manage workflow and make sure everybody was having a manageable workload and all that good stuff, because they were the first ones in, last ones in, first one out, that kind of thing? Or is it from, like, for want of a better word, lower levels of the organizational structure?
Always be a cross between new staff who've just arrived, who have just sadly the last one's in, first one's out, and probably a combination of the team who were working on the multiplayer game. I don't know this. I'm just like
from just
spitballing there.
These are just vibes.
That's how I'm guessing.
Disassociating right now.
Yeah. All we know is that we'll find out in the Last of Us documentary part 3.
If there's a Last of Us part 3.
Yeah, if there's a Last of Us part 3.
Yeah. I'm putting a lot on faith right now. I think it's time for halftime.
Sure
halftime, baby.
I'm pulling the fucking ripcord on this discussion.
It's making us too sad.
I can't right now. I'm done.
Just before you finish, I hope everyone lands on their feet as soon as possible. This is not a you thing. This is a them thing. And please don't hate the industry, because you are all amazing and you deserve to be in this industry. I hope you land on your feet and land somewhere, or even create a company. Yes, will be difficult in this climate. That will create an amazing game where we are all talking about it someday. I send out all the love towards you, especially to Deck 9. Like, thank you guys. You literally, I truly mean it when I say you guys saved my life. So I hope you all land on your feet.
Beautifully said. I hope the industry changes so it deserves them. That's all I say.
Fire. That's the answer. I wanted to try and say something like proper serious and everything like you two did, but I mean, I ain't got nothing. I think we should fire all of the CEOs.
Yeah, all C-suite execs gone. Yes, into the sun.
Yeah. That's my solution. Guillotines.
There you go. Superman, it's your birthday today. Do us all a favor, you know. Get a big net and round them all up. Sling those fuckers into the sun.
Does anyone remember when they learned about the French Revolution?
Yes.
Yeah, but they just did the same things as the people they beat.
No, I can't remember. I'm not going to argue with that. The last thing I interacted with the French Revolution was a video game that had robots in it. So. It's time for Indie Game of the Week. This is our halftime show where we talk about a cool-looking upcoming indie game that looks cool, and you can wishlist it and go and watch the trailer for it. This week's Indie Game of the Week is a little bit different. It's Slash Quest. It's a game that was on Apple Arcade but was removed from Apple Arcade, and now it's coming to PC. So you can play it if you don't, if you want to play it, because you can't play it right now. That was an amazing. I forgot to put the little blurb that I usually read from the side of the Steam page on the thing, and I'm not good at improv apparently.
Speaks wonders for D&D this week.
I know, right? This is a cool, cute little game where the sword is a talking sword. It's the main character. It like gets bigger. It's like you go through levels and stuff. And you just go through levels like bapping enemies, by spinning. So you hold the sword out in front of you and you like bap enemies. This is not a good motion to be doing on video podcast, but yeah, it looks cute. It looks fun. There's a link to the Steam store page in the description wherever you're getting this podcast. You should click that link. You should read the actual blurb for the game because it's way better than what I just said. And then you should click that wish list button because it really helps devs, and they really fucking need all the help they can get right now.
Mm-hmm.
If the last hour of this podcast if you've listened to the last hour of this podcast, please click the wish list button on these games that we talk about in the middle. Slash Quest. It's a good name for a game too.
Sure is.
It's short, to the point. Yeah, because to the point.
Yeah, well, I got it.
It's a sword. So
Swing that sword.
Point. Because the sword has a point.
Mm-hmm.
And you stick them with the pointy end to the point. You get it. Should we
listener, we'll give you a moment to get back up out of your seat, which you no doubt fallen out of from laughing so hard.
Such a good joke and such a good jokester. When we come back, we're going to talk about some actual video games. Cool. Let's talk about some video games that.
No, before, if you don't mind. This is a perfect thing, though. This is perfect, David. Trust me.
We've been chatting for 10 minutes. Why didn't you want me?
I know.
To do this.
Because you never stop talking. I have to shout out. I've already told Vitz this, but I have to shout out Mick Ducker from The Gamer. The perfect article that he's put out just now, or about 2 hours ago. He wrote about the video game layoffs with a nice, respectful solution. Screw it. Let's just fire everyone and let the executives make their own fucking games.
Well,
see how easy it is, you fuckers.
It's very, very clever headline, and I respect the energy of it. But that's exactly what the executives would love to do with AI. So maybe let's not poke that bear.
Yes.
Because I think they're going to try. Someone is going to try that.
Why are we paying all these artists? We can just get the computer to do it for us.
Just get the Midjourney to do it. Oh,
Script writers, we've got ChatGPT now. It'll be fine.
just bringing me back to that.
Those are jokes,
thing.
dear listeners. Those are jokes.
I played Pacific Drive this past week, and I finished it. Moody saw me play a little bit of it. Pacific Drive is a weird mishmash of cool ideas. Have either of you ever read the novel, the classic science fiction novel, Roadside Picnic?
I have not.
Never,
It's a
never even heard
it's
of
a very good novel. In the novel, like aliens come to Earth, but they don't like invade or like fight or anything. They show up. They don't tell anyone, and then they leave. But they leave a bunch of weird shit behind, and then humanity has to like build an exclusion zone around it because it's all very dangerous stuff. Pacific Drive is very similar in that it's set in the Pacific Northwest, and science does some weird science shit and unleashes all sorts of really dangerous anomalies on the Pacific Northwest, and they have to build big walls to stop it from getting out. And in the game, you play as the driver, character that doesn't have a name, and you get sucked in to the exclusion zone, and you have to try and escape. There's a whole like story and everything. It's a survival game. It's a bit of a horror game, but not like a full-on like terrifying horror game. It's just the atmosphere more than anything else. And it's also like a car game.
Yeah, it is.
Like big style. So rather than try to continue this sort of summary, I'm going to reference a three-post Bluesky thread that I put up on Bluesky, which was liked and reposted by the director of Pacific Drive, Seth Rollin, who also now follows me on Bluesky, just saying. And it goes like this.
Cheeky flex there.
I'm just flexing. What can I say? I summarized the game in 3 amazing posts. Pacific Drive can be split into 3 distinct levels of gameplay. Level 1. Whispering to my car, I will treat you like the precious baby that you are. I'll not let anything hurt you, as we set out on another road trip. Level 2. Shit somewhat hits the fan, and I tell myself, it's okay, I only need 1 headlight, and I can fix the dents when I get home. Also, bumpers were overrated anyway, and most cars only need 3 tires. And then level 3. Desperately kicking my car after turning it into a jet and landing upside down in a forest. And also there are exploding mannequins everywhere. And if you're up there, please save me, Superman. Wait, that's not Superman. It's an abductor.
Amazing.
That's the gameplay of Pacific Drive. Then you go home, slap some repair putty on your car, do it all again. That's the game. That's Pacific Drive, everybody. So like... Before I get interrogated / questioned by my 2 wonderful, glorious co-hosts, I'll just say Pacific Drive is a great game. It took me some effort to get into it in the first instance, and partially because I don't like survival games, like at all. Like I'm not a survival game fan. I only started playing this. I only played this one because I loved what the trailers were showing in a combination with an interview that I saw with game director Seth Rollin, who follows me on Bluesky. He said that he also doesn't like survival games, and I was like, interesting. There's hope for this game.
There you go.
For me, personally, and I had to fiddle with some gameplay settings in the gameplay menu, which we'll talk about in the main bulk of the review, because I need to talk about the menus. But once I like tweaked the game a little bit, I had a fucking blast. It was a great time. I love this game. I love my little car. I called it the Weird Wagon because I found a door in a dumpster that had Weird Wagon spray painted on it, and that's how I decided with that name. And yeah, like I couldn't stop playing it. Like I'd sit down and play it for a bit, and I'd be like, "Oh man, I'm really tired of this loop of going out and then coming back and then going out and then coming back. Maybe I'll just leave this till tomorrow." And then like 2 hours later, I'd be like, I'm just going to play a little bit more Pacific Drive. And that was how my week went with this game.
Brilliant.
It's a great time. I love it.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it is something that I want to check out. Obviously, I've got an affinity for all things cards anyway, but then to what you were saying about being able to tweak certain things and how they didn't want to make it like a survival horror game to begin with, but there may or may not be those elements in there. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get to it at some point.
So there are like it's survival game, not like survival horror, like the Resident Evil, Silent Hill. Survival game is in like you craft things and the main drive the
See?
game is
Queen of the puns right here.
is to go out and like, you scavenge like supplies to take back to your base to build new car parts or like upgrade, like unlock new things in your garage and stuff like that. And that's sort of like the main loop. There is a campaign. There are story missions. The story takes more precedent in the game than I assumed it would, because it's a survival game. It's actually heavily story driven. But for the most part, yeah, it is like, okay, like I need to find some, like maybe it's just like I'm just gonna grab everything I can, or maybe it's just like I need to like build I need to like build this thing and I need plasma for it, so I'm gonna look for the things that give me plasma, like, or I need to find chemicals, and you can only reliably find chemicals in this one type of building, so let me go find all these little, stuff like that. But yeah, as far as the horror goes, it's got some shit in there which is real spooky.
Oh no.
Like the exclusion zone is filled with anomalies that aren't trying to kill you. It's more just that the anomalies are really dangerous and that just happens to be where you are. So there's no like enemies that are like hunting you down to fucking rip your face off or whatever. It is just literally like, no, you're in this place and you need to survive in this place, and everything in this place is dangerous. So don't drive into it. Even if it seems like a good idea at the time, it's not a good idea. But the spookiest thing in the game it's the thing that I've seen most people talk about. They're called tourists. In certain maps, you'll have mannequins everywhere.
Yep.
Spooky enough as it is.
Weeping angels.
Yeah, because sometimes they move when you're not looking at them.
Oh no.
Sometimes they tried to help you. I had one incident. I'm only going to talk about the mannequins specifically. There's tons of other anomalies, but like because this is the one that people have been talking about. This is the one that I'm going to talk about. They sometimes throw you things, but they do it when you're not looking at them. So you'll just be like scavenging something, and all of a sudden, like something will just fucking hit the wall, and you'll just be like, "Jesus Christ, what was that?" And you'll turn around and like there's a mannequin standing there, and he's like throwing a thing to you, and it's like, oh, that's actually really helpful, but please don't do that ever again. I almost had a heart attack. But with a lot of this stuff, there's a really deep gameplay menu system in the actual menu, in the pause menus. I went looking after I'd done the 2 streams, and I was kind of frustrated with the game for various reasons, mostly the whole like panic, die, lose my stuff, shit, now my car's fucked, what do I do part of the loop. And I went in there looking for a motion blur setting, because I was like, I need to turn the motion blur off if I can. And I was like, I found the motion blur setting. There are like 30 or 40 different settings to just start tweaking like the gameplay. So like to your point about horror, like I don't think you can ever really get rid of the spooky vibes 100% because of the game, the way the game is, but you can do things like you can turn the brightness of the nights specifically. So like you can make the nights lighter. You can make them shorter. There's like lightning crashes in the game. Like when there's storms, you can turn those off. And then to another level of tweaks to that, you can just change the gameplay entirely, like to however you want to do it. So I turned something on, which was basically if I die, like I keep all my items. Like my car still gets totaled. I still get teleported back to the garage, but I keep all of the items that I scavenged.
Everything's on your person stays in your image.
Yeah, like everything in the car, boot, and everything in like in my pockets and whatnot. I keep, and that just changed the game for me, like 100%. Awesome. Like there's other options. You can turn everything on and just be invincible if you want. Your car can be invincible. You can never run out of fuel, never run out of power, and never get hurt. And I think that's awesome. And like it's all individual settings, so you can just flick things on and off to however you want to do it, which is fucking great. Like I only ended up turning like 3 things on, and only one of them was a gameplay modifier. And I went from, oh man, this game it has really good moments, but it's kind of frustrating, to I fucking love this game. It's amazing.
Yes. Amazing. You mentioned the 2 streams. If the fabulous people listening at home, if they wanted to catch one of your live streams, where would they go?
They would go to twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames.
Yeah, they would.
But yeah, no, that's so like I think anyone can get into this game because of those gameplay like toggles. Like if something's frustrating you about the gameplay loop of Pacific Drive, and it's not like core gameplay mechanics. Like if you hate the driving, there's not a lot you can really
There's
do
no
about the
chauffeur
driving.
in this game.
Like, it's a driving game. But like like if there's something that's frustrating you in the gameplay, like there's probably a switch for you to fiddle around with it to make it better for you. And that even includes the horror, as it turns out.
Sounds good.
Does anyone else have any more questions about the game?
No, it sounds good. It's definitely on my list of titles to get to.
Okay, then I need to talk about the car, because I wanted to talk about the car. I thought someone was going to ask me about the car. It's like the central protagonist / mechanic in the game. It's fucking incredible. It starts out, it's a rusty old piece of shit station wagon that you can barely drive. And then you just start building on top of it. And like people always talk, like I don't drive in real life.
And bought.
Nice. And people always talk about like their first car and how much they like were emotionally attached to it. And I've never understood that because I've never had it. I get it now. I was emotionally attached to this
You're
car.
one of us.
Like, oh my god, like I loved it so much. Like, you know, like I was spray painting it and I was like, you know, oh, this door needs replacing. Like, it's weird how you go out on these runs because it's a run-based game, not an open world game. So you set like courses through the thing, and like you've got an end point, and at the end you do a thing, you collect some energy, and you teleport back to the garage, and then you start again from there. And like you'd go on a run for like an hour of like because the longest because like the more into the game you get, the further you travel, the longer it takes, and then it would be like you've done that, right? Cool. Now it's 30 minutes in the garage, filling the fuel back up, repairing the car. Oh, this door's got a cracked windshield. Let me just use my sealing kit to fill that windshield in. Oh, this component is old and it's worn out. So instead of like repairing it, you just replace it. Right, let's do that. And then it's like, okay, now do. And you spend like half an hour just like doing all these little things, and it's awesome. I don't know how else to describe it. Like I was like, oh man, this is gonna drag because you have to do so many different things. And I was like, no, this is cool as fuck.
You are now enlightened and burdened with car ownership. You
I
have
own
the
a car.
emotional attachment, yeah.
But my car drives through the Pacific Exclusion Zone, and it's very, very dangerous and deadly. And my God, some of the things that have happened.
Sure, it does. Developers, if you're listening out there, let Amy buy a diecast model of that car.
Yeah, please.
Of her specific car, yeah.
I mean, you've seen the pictures on Bluesky. Let me buy it. Let me buy a model of it. But yeah, no, the upgrade system is really great. The menus can be a bit convoluted, but I don't know how they could have made them any less, because of the way the game is designed in terms of it does favor immersion. Like the thing that I love most about this is when you get in the car, and this is going to sound really weird, but like you don't take the role of the car. Like in Forza Horizon, you're not playing a person who's driving a car, you're playing a car.
Yeah.
In Pacific Drive, you are 100% always playing a person behind the wheel of a car. So, like, you know, your map is there. It's on a screen on the side. You can't take it with you when you go out of the car. Like, so you keep looking across, and then you click the thing to, like, turn the windscreen wipers on, or you click this thing to turn the lights on and off. And the driving isn't perfect, but that makes it perfect for this game.
Yeah.
Because you're not always...
Because you haven't got, like, the best tires and the best... You can't,
even
like,
when you have the best
change
tires,
your
it's like, it's great.
Right, yeah.
It's great. Like, you know, I had, like, the all-terrain power tires with like glowing things on them, and it was still like it's a bit dicey sometimes. It's not a game where you're trying to drive as fast as possible unless shit's happening. Like, you know, like you'll be driving through the fog sometimes, and like, you know, like you'll be trying to like drive around these anomalies, and then sometimes like a storm is coming and you're just really trying to fucking go for it. But no, it's such a good game. I could talk way more about all the different things and systems and mechanics and everything that's in it.
Hell yeah.
The other thing is I will shout out, because it sounds like it could get repetitive, where it's like you're constantly like going back and then driving out and then going back and then driving out. Because if it's roguelike nature, the places that you go change layouts. But also they have modifiers. So when you're planning your route out and like looking at all the different like places that you can go, you have anomalies, like junction anomalies they're called, and they'll change how the environment that you're driving into is. So one of them might be eerie darkness, so it's just pitch black. And then it's like, okay, cool. Let me install an extra battery. Let me get my floodlights out on the side of my car. Like, like you have to prepare for stuff like that. One of the funniest ones I came across, and it was a combination of that one and something called Swift Speed, which you might think, great, that sounds awesome. What Swift Speed does is whenever your car gets hit by electricity, it takes off in a massive speed boost that is incredibly difficult to control. Like you'll be driving, and then like and then you just shit.
And you're visiting the nearest tree, I imagine.
Yeah, you just plow. Right. I plowed into the side of a garage at one point, like. But yeah, I got 2 modifiers that combined eerie darkness with swift speed. So I would get hit by lightning, and then I would just go flying into the darkness with no idea, like.
There you go.
Where I was going. This game is fucking great, like, and my opinion of it, like, got like higher and higher the more I played it.
So from what I understand, the car that you start out with, and obviously you grow as you play the game. It's like a late 80s, early 90s model of a regular station wagon.
It's like a station wagon, yeah.
Does the soundtrack in the game kind of reflect that era, or is it?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's sounds exactly like you would. There's some licensed songs in the game, like you can turn the radio on. And at one point I remembered that the radio existed, and I was like, cool. This, because I had a long drive and I wasn't stopping for resources, so it was literally just trying to survive, like driving to survive as it is. And I was like, having this radio on will make me like forget about the horrors outside. And it worked for like 2 junctions, and then at the 3rd junction, all of a sudden the radio cut out and some creepy fucking humming thing started coming through it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is still a horror game. Click. I mean, just pretend that didn't happen.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, the car is definitely the star of the show.
Which is a good thing at the end of the day, because it is the main element.
Oh yeah, like I had my car set up. I had a big roof rack for storing stuff. I had extra fuel tanks built on the side, extra batteries on the back seats. I was like, you know what? Charging this car is an issue because I keep wanting to use the lights all the time. So like, because it's a spooky game. So I was like, I put a wind turbine on it, I put a hydroelectric thing on it, and I put a lightning rod on it. I was like, no matter what the weather conditions, this car will charge itself.
Amy's ready, yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a storm over there. Oh, my battery's half full. I'm going to drive into the storm and pull the handbrake, which you also have to do manually. It's awesome. And I'm going to get hit by lightning, and it's going to charge my car up.
Hell yeah.
Great
That's
game.
Awesome.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's great to hear that. It's great to hear, like, right now we're having a really banger start to the year, like we've stated multiple occasions of the year for video games. Like I said, the game industry is having a difficult time, but there's still great games coming out from amazing people, which is great to see. So
yeah, in spite of the industry being on fire, we're still going to be great games.
Yeah.
In spite of the industry, just keep throwing fossil fuel onto the fire.
Speaking of cars, segue. The latest update for Gran Turismo 7, update patch 1.43, dropped this week. And dear listener, if you remember the last time an update came out, 1.42, your boy got on a bit of a soapbox and went on a bit of a rant. Well, we're fetching that soapbox out again. This update was teased a little bit differently. Kaz Yamauchi-san, he did his traditional tweeting of a picture with 3 car silhouettes, and you're supposed to figure out which cars they were. There are Renault. Exactly. There's a Renault 4. There's a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9 and an Audi TT RS. This time around. And usually it's okay, we get 3 cars. Sometimes you get a circuit thrown in there, like Lake Louise was the latest track that was added a couple of updates ago into part of Spec 2 that I spoke about here on the podcast. And you get, a handful of new events and whatnot to do. So for endgame players, you've done all the races in the game. They add a bunch of new ones, and you think, okay, we get like an hour or 2 worth of gameplay out of doing these new races. they added 3 events in this update, which isn't out of the norm. Usually we get like 5 to say. Having said that, these 3 events in total took 15 minutes to do. And that's including, going over to the event, selecting it, picking which car you're going to use, making sure you have right setup on the car and all the rest of it, and indeed running the event. I get that all these updates are free, and I don't want to be one of these people who's complaining about something, a free update and whatnot. But the tools that they have in the game to create amazing events are in there. So they have a custom event creator where you can go in and set like the regulations in terms of, okay, your car can only have X amount of horsepower, it needs to weigh this much, with this certain type of car, that kind of thing. We're going to race on these circuits. We're going to have changeable weather and dynamic 9-day cycles and all the rest of it. All those tools are in there. For some reason, they're choosing not to use them and delivering us some meaty amount of single player content each month, and it's one of these things where the player base is more than capable of designing these events. Why aren't the developers? And if it's a resource thing, then it's an argument that I don't necessarily buy, because it takes 5 minutes to set these events up. And yes, you need to create, key art for the artwork that goes along with each race, and there'll be some element of localization and all the rest of it. But again, it at this point, it seems like they're doing it on purpose. It seems like they're testing us. So how much can they get away with before we just go bucket like we've done with Forza Motorsport? And I said, you know what? That game's not respecting my time, therefore I'm not respecting it at the moment. So yeah, the struggle bus continues to drive in Gran Turismo 7.
I've got a great solution for you, Vitz.
Let's go.
You love cars, you love driving.
I do.
Have you heard of this game called Pacific Drive?
You know what? A great friend of mine just recently spoke about it.
You know what? I think you should get that. Like, it'll fill the void that Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport have clearly left in your heart.
It'll fill that hole in my heart.
Yeah.
Hey, Vitz, the new F1 game's coming out in May.
Yeah, but I don't trust Codemasters. I don't trust EA. Codemasters cannot make a game which works with any racing wheel in the known world.
So here we are.
I don't trust Codemasters. I just don't trust EA.
Who does? So all right, March, Final Fantasy month. I totally respect that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
April, Pacific Drive. Boom.
Yep.
There you go. There's driving and fix. And then if you may, you've got the F1 blast around, pretend to be like, I don't know, Lando Norris or whoever, and then and then in June, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Ooh, that's a plan.
There's a plan for you.
There you go.
No other video games are coming out in the next 4 months.
No,
so you're fine.
Yeah, the front 3 months of this year have been front loaded. So
like
you've been all right.
I don't mean to take away from your Gran Turismo review, but it's startling to like me and like Moody knows how many games I've played in the past. In past years, I've played 4 new games, 4 2024 games this year. We're 2 months in, and I'm about to spend the entirety of March playing 1.
Yes.
So, like, am I going to have enough for a top 10? Who knows? I might not.
Hey, I've heard there's a Chocobo racing mini game in Rebirth, so I might get all in on that. That might be my racing fix in March.
But no, I hope.
Nick, you're like, sorry for putting it in. So like, you're taking the entire of March. You're even go holding off on Unicorn Overlord as well.
I like look. As soon as I saw those absolute mad lads and lasses and peeps at the development studio for Unicorn Overlord, like, we're going to launch in like a week and a half from Final Fantasy. I was like, cool. Then I'm going to put this one off.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to play it. I
alligator.
want to play it, but there's no way I'm going to be done with Final Fantasy, and it's Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully, like we aren't reviewers. Like, for the critics who have to get these games done out as fast as
Oh, yeah, to meet embargo,
possible,
yeah.
you know?
Been there, done that. Don't
like,
recommend it as a lifestyle. I'm
You do all
enjoying
that work and
games
then just
more.
get yelled at by the audience.
I do that anyway. I'm enjoying myself a lot more playing games. I'm finishing more games now. It's great. I love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, no doubt. I know you want, just before you get onto your last game, Amy, I just want to shout out Brothers, the Tale of Two
Sons?
Brothers.
Yeah.
Sons, yeah. That's only
Brothers, a tale of two
£15.
brothers.
Sons, the tale of two brothers.
You know what I meant? That's only £15. All the thing of how expensive games are and everything like that. To see a game that was universally hailed when it all came out years and years and years ago, for it to be coming out, remade and everything, all up to date graphics and everything like that, and it's only £15. I have to take my cap off to them, though. That's respect to them for that as well. So it's just to see that, I was just like, when I was going through PlayStation store just right now before I bought Pacific Drive, I was just like, wait, that's £15? Like, no fucking way. That's amazing.
Even Pacific Drive is only 25 quid.
I know. There's no doubt about it. It's like, I think people are just seeing like £25, and it's about an 8-10 hour experience. That is most definitely not only just
about a 30-hour experience.
That's for you. I'm just going off playthroughs I've just seen. Okay.
Okay.
Let me finish. Just to see that though, for the people are getting the money's worth and they're feeling it and they're happy to pay for it. You know, like when you see all of like 70 quid, like we were speaking about earlier, it's just great to see that. You know, so hopefully the industry actually listens.
Who knows? Speaking of listening, Moody, are you proud of me? I finally finished a Pokemon game. I'm a Pokemon.
I know.
GG. She's the very best like no one ever
It's funny enough, you beat the most broken one.
I did. And it was definitely still the most broken one. I can confirm. Whoever decided, you know what we're going to add to this game? Weather effects. Why? Why did you do that? I went up a mountain and it was like the snow town and I had to the gym was up there for like the ghost types. And it started blizzarding, and like the frame rate went so low, so consistently low for so long. The game was in slow motion. I have footage of basically the game moving in slow motion while I was trying to move through a village.
and the masters of a Game Freak, saw this and how it ran and thought,
great idea.
Let's ship it.
Ship it. It's fine.
Just works. It just works. They heard in the back of their voice.
It never crashed.
It just works.
Somehow
they'll buy it regardless.
I didn't buy it, I rented it. But great game though. Like, apart from the fact that I can't recommend it to anybody because it's unforgivably broken.
How annoying is that?
It's a great game.
How annoying is that?
It's really annoying because it is a fantastic game. I had a lot of fun with the game part of the game. Like, from start to finish. You had 3 different paths. One was beat all the gyms, another one was find all these big, massive Pokemon monsters, and one was beat up a bunch of kids who've been bullied at school. But it was fine.
Wait, the kids have been bullied, or they were the bullies?
Oh, they had been bullied, but they were skipping school. And you go to their bases and you bully them. It's a whole thing.
So your mission was to go out there and beat some cheeks because these kids were skipping school because that's where their bullies.
Yep. Yep. I will not elaborate further.
It's just as bad as like Lost Judgment. As an adult, you just beat up random kids in the school.
You do beat up random kids in the school. They're not random, but you beat them up. Like collecting my Pokemon. I was sharing all my Pokemon stuff with Moody and Vitz, and like choosing, Moody, look at my Pokemon. And you were like, yeah, that's pretty good. Didn't know whether you were just humoring me like a parent would humor a child. Like, that's a really good team.
Maybe felt the pats on her head.
Yeah.
You had a good team. There's no doubt about it. There's one I would have took out, but that's just for me. But it's the one that you fell in love with, so I would never tell you to take out.
Oh yeah, like they all came clutch at one point or another, and I was like, I have to keep. I tried to take some of them out, and I was like, for like better ones, like more leveled up ones and stuff, and I was like, I can't do it.
But no, by the end, it was a pretty, really, really good balanced team.
The
only thing I obviously, there's no doubt about it. The only thing I don't think I saw obviously was your move types, your moves. So if you, I would have recommended maybe better balanced move types, but I don't know what you.
No, like I figured out the meta of doing that, where it was like, oh, like I can give this type of Pokemon like a move, like a different type of move. So and I was like,
cover your bases.
I was
kind of
balancing
thing.
my team in that regard, where it was like, oh, I can give my fire type a dark move, and then I don't need a dark type Pokemon. And like I beat the fairy gym with my fairy type Pokemon because my fairy type Pokemon also had the move on it that the fairy type Pokemon were weak to.
Right,
okay, yeah.
So I was very proud of myself for that one.
So, mechanically, so I've watched the one and only Andy Cortez play through parts of this game on the Let's Play series he uploaded to his YouTube channel, and in I believe it was one of the end game fights where you fight a character. I want to say the name is Geeta. She has long black hair, and
she's the elite. I think
she's
she's the champion of the region, I believe.
President of the Pokemon.
And when he went up against Geeta, like for one reason, like or another, his team wasn't balanced in any way, shape, or form. But as I understand it from Pokemon games that I've played beforehand, Pokemon have a finite number of times they can use a certain move, right?
Yes, correct.
Having said that, no matter how many different Pokemon Andy threw at this lady, she spammed the same move more than, say, if they've got like 20 out of 20 in it, and each move takes 5 PP or whatever it's called to use that move. She just spammed that move over and over and over again. It was kind of broken.
20 out of 20 means you can use it 20 times. Like every move costs like 1 PP.
Yeah. No, but I think Andy had that same move, but he only had like 5 instances of using it. But this lady just kept spamming and spamming and spamming. So I wanted to ask, did it feel balanced for you?
I mean, yeah, sure. Like,
the
game is like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
But like there's like 12 different like rock, paper, scissors, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it was balanced in the way that fights are more just like puzzles, where it's like, you've sent out a water type Pokemon. Oh, I better get this fire type Pokemon out here because they're not going to do very well. And it's like figuring that out throughout all of the battles. And again, like I was too invested in the Pokemon that I had in my team to switch them out for different, better Pokemon. Like Moody said, my team wasn't wholly balanced. It is difficult when there's like 12 different types of Pokemon, but you can only have 6 in your party. It is difficult to keep that balance up anyway. So like I just committed to trying to cover as many bases as I could with the 6 Pokemon that I had. And
all your children, they were going to run to take you to the end.
Yeah, it was great. It was just like seeing an enemy throw out a Pokemon and then going, cool, like how do I counter this Pokemon with what I have currently in my party? The fact that I remembered all of these things as I was getting towards the end of the game was the most impressive thing. Yeah. Like there were points because it always tells you, like when you beat one Pokemon, it always tells you which Pokemon the trainer's going to throw out next. And there were times where it would be like, and it gives you the option to switch your Pokemon as well. And there'd be times where it'd be like, such and such is about to throw out this Pokemon. And I'd be like, shit, I need to switch my Pokemon.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at your team right now. You got like I said, there's 5, I think, spot on. There's only 1 I would have took out. But again, this is your team. That's what's so great. This is a team that just worked for you and clicked for you and everything. Mm-hmm. Like you got a really good, powerful team there for me personally.
I just went off 5s. Like obviously there was my starter, and then I had Gardevoir, obviously, and Sylveon. I was really happy when my Eevee evolved into a Sylveon, and then I had Sudowoodo, and it was just like he's just a little tree boy, even though he's made of rock. He's a tree boy, and like. I don't know, like in the
he's a rock type. Yeah,
he's
weird.
A rock type. He's made of rock. I read the Pokedex entry, but like he clutched like a couple of gym fights for me, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep him. And then by the time it came to taking him out, I was like, I can't take him out. And then I had Ceruledge because I needed a fire type at one point in the game. So I was like, I catch the first one that I come across, and it was a Charcadet, and I did the thing, got his armor, and he was a badass ninja with swords. And then like I had a Haunter for a while, and he was just getting decimated. So I was like, I need to get this boy out of here because like at this point it's just abuse. And I remembered a Pokemon I'd seen at a GDQ on a couple when GDQ was on in January called Magneton, and I saw Magneton and I was like, you'll do.
And then it evolved into a Magnezone.
Yeah. Well, it had a Steel type, which I was like, this is a thing I definitely need, like where I was in the game, and also Lightning, so that was good.
Steel types are very like Steel, Fairy, and Dragons are basically the 3 main types out there. And like, if you could have a team with at least 3 of those, you had it.
Are you telling me this Pokemon that's essentially like an evolution of a magnet is a Steel type?
3 magnets.
Yes,
the one property I know about Steel is not magnetic.
Well, this one is.
It's also lightning type.
Electric steel type.
Electric steel.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, no, it was always funny when someone threw out a dragon type Pokemon. It's like this big, like, aha, I've got you now, and I've got a Sylveon. So I just laughed in the face of everyone who had a dragon type. I was like,
And she's so small compared to all the dragon types. She's just like,
ah, you fool, you fell for my trap.
Your ass. This little cute thing's about to kick your ass.
Prepare to be destroyed.
I have wanted to go back through, but
Don't.
at the same time, I'm just like, I can't. I just can't right now.
According to my
it
Nintendo
breaks my
Switch,
heart so much.
according to my Nintendo Switch, I played it for 35 hours, and as much as I did
That's
really
awesome.
enjoy the game, like, don't do it, don't play it.
And apparently, like the DLC, like that's broken as well. I'm just like,
Yep.
why? Why? You bastards! And I get, yeah, I'll get to it when we get to the Pokemon present. So,
Well, that might be a smoother segue to
we
get
can
in
do
there.
that now if you want.
yeah, like I've seen it. So obviously they did a Pokemon present.
Yeah, Merry Pokemon Day
on
for all who
Tuesday.
celebrate.
Yeah, 28 years of Pokemon. It's the first
28 days
game
of
that came out.
slavery, entrapment, cockfighting, all the good stuff.
Oh, this is PAL.
So they brought a lot of updates to a lot of their games and everything there. Pokemon Cafe Remix, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Masters X, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Horizons, the series, new collaboration, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's new 7-star tier raid battles where they're literally just teasing me when you put
was gonna say,
Venusaur in the fucker.
That's Bulbasaur's final evolution, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can
well,
catch him now.
Yeah,
in his
yeah,
final
yeah,
evolution. But you remember that joke
hate
I
that.
made where I was like, I'm finally going to understand all the things they talk about in a book. I've never heard of any of this. I was watching this and I was like, what the fuck's going on? I'm still in that position I was in 2 years ago when Moody forced me to watch the last Pokemon Presents. I don't know what the fuck's happening.
So every time they come out with this stuff and I hear this stuff, I always get this Terra Raid confused with Tara Reid on the American Pie movie. It's like, damn, they got her in this game.
Oh, damn! They got voice acting?
Oh god. Even when the new console comes out, we're not getting freaking voice acting.
But- Yeah, no, the Terra Raids are cool. That's how you get the really good Violet. I know what Terra Raid is now.
Terra Raid
go.
is a good. It's a really good mechanic here because like you can really mix up your team up really well and
Yeah.
balance it even better.
And like,
With it, especially if you get like
if you go into like the proper like difficulty challenge ones, like you can catch Pokemon on that. Like you don't have to level up too much, but also you don't have to worry about knocking them out because you have to knock the Pokemon out to finish the raid, and then it gives you the option to catch them. So when you're in the wild and it's like you're trying
right.
desperately not to kill a Pokemon because you need to catch it, you don't have to worry about that in a Terra Raid.
yeah, that's what they
you
brought that in with Sword and Shield when they did the raid battles in Sword and Shield, which was a really good addition to it. But yeah, and they've done Pokemon trading card, digital card trading card, basically. Pockets,
I
with the
absolutely
mobile
love this.
game.
This
I
is
won't lie, when I
amazing.
saw it, I was like, you bastards.
You sons of bitches, you did it again. The
So
obviously
good,
the
champion.
endorphin hit that people have when they they go out and they buy these elite trainer boxes and all the rest of it, and they get the physical packs, and the rush they have of ripping open a pack or doing it very gently and then putting the cards over to one side and then finding out what they've got. How they've managed to do this is genius. So for those who haven't seen the trailer, the endorphin hit this time not only comes from the cards that you get and obviously the beautiful art that's on them, but you get to physically swipe your finger across your screen to open the pack of digital cards. It's amazing.
Wrong in so many ways.
But so right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah,
touching
no.
this. I'm a reformed Magic the Gathering player. I'm not going to fucking near this.
Yes.
Oh, Amy, the amount of times I've held off from buying Pokemon cards, just especially the ones when you see, oh, that's a Venusaur, that's a Bulbasaur type of thing, and I'm just like, oh, my precious. I'm so glad my partner's there when I'm there. She's like pulling me away.
Just like, yeah.
Cover your eyes. No.
Yeah.
See no
Even
evil,
though it
see
was
no
really
evil.
bad that she basically grabbed this and basically just handed me it. So she's not the best of influence sometimes, but either way. Yeah, and then we got we knew we were gonna get at least something new. It was obviously not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be the black and
Thanks
white
for that.
remix or something like that. You're welcome.
My fantasy critic team thanks you
Everybody's
for that
dropping
one.
games.
And no, it's a Legends. It's in the next Legend games, Pokemon
ZA.
Legends. ZA or
Okay,
ZA,
how are we
whatever the hell
pronouncing
they
this game?
call it.
Yeah.
I don't think they've
Well, I don't
really
know.
come
Like,
out and
I'm gonna
said.
go with ZA because it's a riff on XY, right?
But I believe, yeah,
Ah.
no, but I believe there's a character in the game called R, like A-Z.
As
It's like za, it's like
Arizona.
R or Zaz, or yeah. So I'm not sure. Um, this is basically, I know we were talking about earlier, laughing about the Switch 2 rumors, blah blah blah. This is basically the first Switch 2 game that's been announced, basically, and this is why for me, I'm just gonna say. Therefore, I've seen online say they're finally listening, they're holding off and everything like that. No, they aren't, you freaking idiots. We all know deep down that the Poly Switch 2 was probably meant to come out this year, and they're only delaying it because it was going to be a launch title, and they're only delaying it because it's been delayed itself. So they've moved it into the next year. That is it. Don't give them too much credit, because if this game still comes out fucking broken, you still buying it, you schmucks, and I'm meaning me here as well.
So I'm gonna rent it, but so Pokemon ZA, is all set in one big city, and like again, I just played Pokemon Violet, and that game chugs like crazy whenever you're in a town or a settlement or a village or a city. So it's a brave move to set your entire game in a city. Good luck with that.
And just from the vibes I got from the trailer that it showed, is it because this is a city that's already appeared in different Pokemon games, as I understand it. This one's based or like themed around Paris, is that right?
I believe so.
Because they had an Eiffel Tower looking thing.
Yeah, I believe so. Don't hold it to me though at the same time.
Okay.
It's the Carlos region. It's arguably the XY games basically. The XY's games I believe are highly liked. If I remember rightly. Like I think you asked me, Amy, about them. Like what are the best ratings? I think I said XY.
When I said, oh, you mean when I said, hey, what are the best Pokemon games for the DS?
Yeah,
for no real reason.
yeah. Like the XY games are like really, really highly thought of. So it's interesting that they're going to that region. Either way, I'm happy with a new Pokemon game.
Yeah,
Legends game. I loved Legends Arceus. Like I remember playing it. I played it from I streamed it for 12 hours.
Yep, I was there for most of it.
Yeah, I died by a Parasect.
You did.
Literally blew me up by a hyper beam. It was funny.
It was funny. Didn't take a break.
I got Carnivore at the end for Amy before I signed off. I was like, I'm not finishing until I evolve Carnivore. And no, yeah, it's Legends was a great game, but it was chuggy as well a little sometimes. Not as bad as Violet and Scarlet.
Nowhere near as bad as Violet.
Yeah. Which is just insane to think at the same time. And I'm just like, wow. And yeah, so the delay is great because that means hopefully they're going to be making this game, make this game a lot more smoother and everything. But yeah.
Do you reckon we'll ever see like voice acting? Or do you think they'll go, you know what, it's tradition. We just don't do that. We don't do that here.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever do it.
I've only played one.
The highest thing for them is the furthest you'll get is Pikachu, but they've already got in there. Because every time you hear Pikachu, he literally says Pikachu. The rest of them are just like like
Fair enough.
Like,
yeah, there's like a lot of like blips and blops. I'm like, yeah.
But if you see Pikachu, you get a Pikachu.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that
Raichu, you don't even get a Raichu saying Raichu. I think he just goes.
Hey, there's only
I might be wrong
in the same way. There's only one Mickey Mouse. There's only one Pikachu when it comes to the franchise mascots.
Yeah. Sorry, Raichu, you more powerful version of this little yellow version.
Nobody likes you.
Yeah, no one likes you, you fucker.
Yeah, well, let's hope they. I don't want to say make quality of life improvements, but just
make the game work.
Yes.
Game work, yeah. That's
Yeah.
how bad is that? Like Scarlet and Violet, like I agree with Amy, is a great game. Everyone says that. It's just fucking broken.
But yeah.
You've got the formula. Legends was a great game.
I only
but it was a little bit broken.
I only
You've got the
finished it
formula
because it was my
worked.
first one, and I made a commitment to myself and to Moody that I was going to finish this fucking game.
At least no Pokemon Evolution pissed you off this time to make you stop.
That's
Still
true.
baffles me that, but either way.
That didn't make me stop. That's just a funny joke I tell.
Okay.
This game's also coming out on the existing Switch, right?
Probably.
They're not going to leave that money on the table.
They're not going to leave that money.
100
Well,
million
how
units.
freaking
No.
Okay, so then I can't see this thing taking any advantage of any
I
Switch
don't
2
want
or
it to
Super
take
Nintendo
advantage
Switch.
of the Switch. What I want it to do is I want it to take advantage of the extra power and
No,
nothing
it won't do
else.
that.
Just
it'll be
make
exactly
it
the same
run
game.
better. Like when Control came out on PS5 and Xbox Series and it worked properly.
There you go. I think that's asking
It
too much.
depends on how they've built it. If they've built it for Switch 2 from the start up, then it's just downgrading. I'm making it sound as simple as it isn't.
Just with the Switch,
Or
right?
if they've started from the Switch,
Copy,
to
paste, change file
upgrade
name.
it-
Job done.
to upgrade it up to
Pokemon.switch
Switch 2
to
version.
Switch.
Yeah.
Pokemon.switch 2.
Yeah,
Done.
something like
.exe.
that.
Easy.
Now, that's how easy it is. Yeah. It all really depends on like how it is, like that type of thing, basically. I'm surmising they've probably had this game in the background for a while, so they've probably started it with the Switch. Hobbies with the Switch. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, look out for that.
All
What,
I
I'm saying
know is
March
like,
next year?
No,
Yeah,
November.
yeah, it's gonna
Spite,
launch
spite, spite, spite.
Spite.
November this year.
Gold, yeah, motherfuckers! Yeah, it's gonna launch with it. It's gonna be one of the launch titles. Like, it sounds like from the rumors and everything, like everyone's saying, like Nintendo is saying that they want to have a cracking strong lineup for the first year or something.
Did
Like they did with
Nintendo
the
say
first
this,
Switch.
or did Jeff Grubb say this?
Probably it's Jeff Keighley. No, now look.
No, all Jeff Keighley's talking about is this stupid fucking scented fucking air freshener bollocks.
I was wondering what
That doesn't make the air fresh.
when you put in the
doesn't
trial.
If you
make
want
the
the
air
sweet
fresh.
smell of
Do you want to smell
you want
blood
the
while you're
sweet smell
playing
of
games?
human exertion. That's it.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be a launch title. Yes.
I don't, but again,
Well.
I need spite. That's it.
Either way, I'm buying the fucker on the Switch 2. I'm buying the Switch 2 and that. If they put a Switch 2 out that is looking like with the new Pokemon, that's where all my money goes. Let's start saving up now.
You deserve better than this. That's what
Oh,
I'm
fucking
saying.
yes, I do. But I like abuse. I like the punishment.
It's true.
Mm.
I bend over and I take that thing from them with Vitz.
And yet, I'm the one who's finished Pokemon Violet.
If you wanted,
I couldn't. There's only so much S&M I like, Amy.
The one Pokemon game I finished is the one Pokemon game you haven't. Fascinating.
if you wanted
Fascinating.
Pokemon Bondage and Pokemon BDSM, then Persona is a series for you, my friend.
I was a game reviewer. You have no idea the types of broken ass fucking games I played. I played Mass Effect Andromeda before the Day 1 patch.
Day 1 patch didn't fix that much.
Oh, it did. Oh, it did. Trust me.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, you would know better than me there. But
Random
anyway,
question, just before we leave, or if we're leaving Pokemon Town here, is a lot of people expected the GB games to rock up on Nintendo Switch Online, possibly behind the paywall that Nintendo have. Was that just them like breathing that hopium, or was there any substance behind that?
no
Wishful
substance
thinking.
whatsoever.
Right, okay.
Wishful thinking.
It's wishful thinking. I've said it, saying like this is something they should do.
Yeah.
Like you get the money. Like you will. It's leaving money. It's like where everyone was saying to EA, redo the Mass Effect trilogy. You're leaving money on the floor. It's basically the same for that. It's
Right, okay, yeah.
but it's literally just the fans saying it to them. Like myself. Like I've stated that. But no one's, to my knowledge, has ever heard. I haven't even seen Jeff Grubb come out and say, "Yes, they are doing all of this and everything." If I was them, they're holding off to the 30th anniversary in 2 years' time in 2026. But at the same time, I know fuck all.
if they put them on Nintendo Switch Online, then there's less impetus for them to remake them and resell them full price. Which is because we got the Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond.
Yeah. I was going to say, why don't you rent those ones instead of getting the old versions? Because they, for me, play better.
Well, you told me to get X and Y.
No, but you said you're going to look at the Diamond and Pearl ones as well for the DS. Whenever you get to those DS,
yeah, sure. I don't know. I'm just going one at a time at the minute.
That was the last Pokemon game I played. The original release of Pearl, I think.
I was gonna get
Pearl.
I was gonna get the version of red, blue, yellow, or green on this thing, and then I saw how much it would cost, and I went, I'm good.
Yeah. F1's good.
I'm good. I'd rather give them that's the crazy thing is it's so expensive, but none of that money goes to Nintendo. Just to sort of say it, jump onto the Nintendo's leaving money on the table. They really are. They could put that game on the Switch and charge me money for it, and I would pay money for it.
Hey, the amount of times they've re-released Mario, sold that to.
That's the thing about it. What you're saying is it's completely spot on. It's why would they do this? Because they would want to remake all these games. I think they could. I could think they could double, triple dip. They're already double, triple dipping.
Because what'll happen is you'll re-release Red and all the other color ones on Nintendo Switch Online, the original versions, and me and Moody will pay for that game and we'll own it and whatever.
Yeah,
and then they'll remake
up to the expansion pass,
and then they could remake it, and we'll probably buy that as well.
Yep.
Yes.
It's like how
did the same thing that you did with Link's Awakening, right? It was on Nintendo Switch Online, and then you did the remaster or the remake in 2019.
Yeah,
and I love that remake.
So that's such a good game. When I get around to clearing Zelda out, at the minute it's Pokemon, and then Zelda will be sometime I'm gonna play. Tons of Zeldas that I've never played before.
But there is one thing, though, Amy. You might be getting a Control sequel after all. Remedy Entertainment has now apparently rebought the Control series rights from 505 Games for 17 million euros. I don't know what that's in sterling or dollars.
Like a $5. They'd already announced they were making Control 2. And Condor, whatever that is, but it's cool that they own it. I think they just want to avoid an Alan Wake / Quantum Break scenario again, where it's they want to do things, but other companies own the IP. And I know they've rebought the rights to Alan Wake as well from Microsoft years ago, but it's just good that it'll be under their control, so they can do whatever they want with it. They don't have to worry about publishers and whatnot. And
I don't understand that. I think that's spot on, but I think this is also probably one of the reasons why we haven't also heard about a Control sequel until obviously after Alan Wake 2 came out, because they were obviously negotiating getting this all sorted and whatnot, because they wanted to obviously be able to properly announce and everything. And then when they obviously announced it, that was probably them saying we're probably close to a deal, or we've just signed a deal, but we can't talk about it until now and everything. Potentially, but who knows? But no, this is great. You love Control. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next and everything. So I really need to get around to Alan Wake too. But
you really do.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. Do Final Fantasy first, I guess.
Yeah. And then Pacific Drive.
And then Pacific Drive. Do it in some order. I don't know.
Do an order.
I saw the clip. I put it in here last minute because I was like, we might need some funny stuff, some fun stuff. So I just started throwing anything in the dock. The clip that got shared on social media from the ESA speedrunning event, where they were speedrunning Alan Wake 2, and they're just doing the thing, camera, and they're playing the game, and then the dance sequence from the musical segment that starts up, and they just go, I just need to stretch my legs, and then it cuts to this camera, and they do the full dance, this.
Yes,
the runner, the couch, everybody just do the choreography of the dance, and then there's confetti exploding and stuff, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome.
That does sound awesome.
The first reply on Twitter to it didn't this lose your time? And then the runner was like, I mean, it did, yeah, but when you've got the opportunity to do this, you fucking take it.
Hell yes. Shout out to you, Tainted Tally.
Yeah, Tainted Tally. I loved it. It's just such a good, fun moment.
That sounds awesome. There's no doubt about it. Apparently,
Um,
Sweet Home, the movie that inspired Resident Evil, just got a remaster.
and it's
Never heard
on
of this
YouTube. Yeah, it's an 1989 horror movie. That
It's
was
about zombies, I'm guessing.
directed and written by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and it's set in an abandoned house, and it heavily inspired Resident Evil. There's no zombies in the film. The premise is
That's so
different,
disappointing.
but
Why should I watch?
I'm gonna watch it just because it kind of was partially responsible for birthing the survival horror genre. Like, I know there were survival horror games before Resident Evil, but Resident Evil was the one that made
Is the one, yeah.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
and like that's just really cool. Like, you can watch the film that inspired the game that inspired an entire genre that's still going to this day.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
And it's on YouTube, so you can just like watch it on YouTube.
So
I'm all for. Sorry,
carry
carry
on.
on. I was just saying, I'm all for companies putting their videos on YouTube available for everyone. So last week, Netflix put Nimona on YouTube, free for everyone to watch. And if you haven't watched that film, it is
really?
absolutely stunning.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Amy. I'm telling you, you'd love it.
I've got
Swear to you.
I've got some stuff to do before Final Fantasy VII arrives tomorrow.
Yeah, it's. I was so happy to see that I got an Oscar nomination. I was just like, "Fuck yes!" That was such a great film.
What did I watch on YouTube? Oh, Nightmare. You remember Nightmare?
Oh yeah, with the bucket.
So like all the episodes are on YouTube.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can like watch the whole series. I started watching it a while ago actually. It was interesting.
Those for those who aren't aware and older listeners, this was a show that aired in the 90s on UK television.
So bad.
Yeah, I believe it was on ITV.
It was.
Yeah, so like this was kind of like a after you go back from high school or junior school, whatever it happened to be, you come home and then you'd see these children and they'd be speaking to this old man. And he'd be like, okay, go into this room which is all green screen, put a bucket on your head and let the people in the back like direct you where to go. You got these kids going forward, backwards, no, there are 2 steps to the left, not that left, you're the left. And it would all be like in a CD environment, and it was so awesome.
They had like characters, and you could solve puzzles, and
they had NPCs. You could And
there was NPCs. Oh man, it was awesome. Yeah, it was really good. They did a reunion thing a while ago. I think that might be why I was watching the old episodes. They brought it back for like one episode or something. This is pretty anyway. Sorry, you mentioned YouTube things on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, I remember watching some stuff.
But yeah, go check Nimona out. It is amazing.
And Sweet Home.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're a Resident
Evil.
That
was the thing I was going to say. So as it's called Sweet Home, did they start singing Sweet Home?
I don't know. I've not watched it. It's a Japanese movie, so that'll be a bit weird. But you know what? Resident Evil's a bit weird.
Sweet Home Tokyo.
Total global saturation. Resident Evil gets fucking weird. So maybe they do sing Sweet Home.
It really does. It really does.
Someone should make a video about that at some point.
Do you remember when he punched a boulder?
I do. That was in the same game as Total Global Saturation.
It was. That's the greatest moment of Resident Evil life.
Not even the weirdest Resident Evil game.
What's that? What's the organization called? Bazaar. That's how they all call it, the BSAA or whatever.
Yes, BSAA. Yeah,
that's it.
Because like in the fiction of Resident Evil went so far off the fucking rails that like bioterror attacks were just a normal part of everyday life.
Yeah. We need a separate division to be able to tackle these.
In Resident Evil 6 there's like 3 bioterror attacks that like turn people into zombies in like 3 different cities in the world, and this isn't like an event of apocalyptic proportions. This is just, well, there was another terrorist attack, what are you gonna do?
Yep.
Like the entire city of fucking, there was that Japanese city, I can't remember which one it was, is now fucking, there's monsters and zombies everywhere. But yeah, sure, it's just Tuesday, I guess.
It was just a Tuesday.
And that fight in Resident Evil 6 between Chris and Wesker on the roof is one of the greatest cutscenes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so fucking dumb.
Do you mean 5?
No. They had a fight. There
Oh.
was a fight in 6, and it's even worse.
Really?
It's even crazier than the one in 5.
Hey, Whisker's dead though.
Was it Wesker? What am I thinking of? Which game am I thinking of?
You gotta be 5.
Oh, they have a gunfight / kung fu fight. I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Or is it Wesker's son?
It might be Wesker's son. I know
It's
they
voiced
have.
by Tribeca.
I know they have. I know they have Leon and Chris point gun at each other at one point.
Yeah.
I
Before
don't think they
Tribeca
fight,
became
you know.
Tribeca.
And then my one takeaway from Resident Evil 6 is canonically the last line that Leon Kennedy has ever said in a Resident Evil is "women."
I mean,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the incredibly tone deaf depiction of women in Resident Evil 6.
Yeah.
Let's just have fun with it. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Crazy. If I type in Resident Evil craziest cutscene.
Mhm.
Yeah,
because
am I
like,
gonna get
What are you gonna
straight
get?
to it?
Was it Leon and what was her name? Was it Helena and her sister? Like had
Yeah,
been
that was the
infected,
thing,
and then
yeah.
yeah,
Her sister's like doing the whole like sexy dance thing. It's
the
a
whole lot of boobs.
It's a whole thing that just like completely fucking misses every mark.
Hey, shout out to Capcom for coming up with unique UI for each of the characters that you play through on the different runs, and they're all equally as incomprehensible as each other.
Oh wait, was it Chris? No, this is taking some time, man. Oh shit, it's coming through. It's coming through my my Bluetooth speaker. No, shut up.
Ah,
It's the whole scene. I don't want to see the whole scene. I just need to know that it's
Resident Evil.
I just need to see, everybody knows what the scene is. How is it this difficult to find?
Hey friends, Resident Evil 5 will get remade one day. Just you wait.
It was,
they
yeah,
wanna
it was
avoid- I
Jake.
think they wanna
It
avoid
was
that.
Jake. It was Chris and Jake. Yeah.
Okay.
It was that. It was Wesker's
Going back to
son.
what you just said there, Vitz, I think they want to avoid that like a plague.
Yeah, let's remake
I don't think
Code
they-
Veronica instead.
Yeah, because that does such a great job.
That game's aged. That game's aged really well.
I stand by that. I think they will remake 1 again.
I mean, I guess you could do that.
Yeah. And
Um,
then 0.
at least don't make the inventory system the way it is in the game, where you drop
yeah.
things on the floor and you've got to
That's
remember
so
where
bad,
it is.
yeah.
It's like, oh fuck. Like I
Yeah,
think this is
yeah.
the thing that's stopping me from like doing my like Resident Evil timeline video, because it's like, yeah, sure, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, like all the cool ones. And it's like, yeah, do those again and talk about them. But then there's also like Resident Evil 0, Code Veronica, like Umbrella Corps 6, 5, Revelations.
But
It's
you have-
like there's a lot of
you have
bad
just
Resident
put-
Evil games.
Sorry for putting in there. You have played Veronica. You just played that. And I believe you finished it, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, you don't have to play that one again.
I need footage of it.
Go on YouTube, find it, and shout them out in the comments.
Give them credit.
Credit, that's it. Thank you.
No.
My brain was just like, why am I not getting this right?
No. Play it again, and then I write all this process.
hmm
All right.
I'm not
Yeah.
being my research will be.
Just don't
playing
do it
again.
then. Just don't do it. Just don't
I
do
mean,
it.
you could watch all of the Mila Jokovic Resident Evil films if you really wanted to torture yourself.
I already know how I'm gonna because my idea is to present the Resident Evil timeline. And I already know how I'm gonna handle the Resident Evil films. Like, I already know the joke what I'm gonna do.
There we go.
For the Resident Evil films, the manga, because there's Resident Evil manga.
There's a manga.
There's books.
Nice.
There's animated films. It is a whole journey
Yeah.
that you have to go on if you want to chronicle the story of Resident Evil.
All over the place.
And also, there's the actual story, which is complete fucking nonsense. Speaking of complete fuck, actually, that's probably not accurate. Can someone go on OpenCritic.com and really quickly type in Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered? Other than that, it's
One.
time for OpenCritic Head-To-Head. This is the game we play every week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of upcoming games. Whoever guesses closest to the score gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of 3 games, one of which was a bit in flux. Between me and Moody, but if they're looking,
That score is right.
That score is right. Cool. So last week we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of 3 games. Whoever guesses closest to the score gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, the first game we tried to guess was Shiren the Wanderer, the Mystery Dungeon of Serpent Coil Island. Moody won that one. We also tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake. Moody won that one. And we also tried to guess Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered. Moody got 2 points off of that one. So the scores currently are Amy 3, Moody 11, Vitz 0, and 1 draw.
Like I'm telling you, I'm getting away from Vitz as fast as I can before he starts returning.
Well,
I could have read all the guesses out, but basically Moody's won for the last 3 weeks, so you know whatever, I don't care. Like, just fucking get it over with. Moody's got fucking all the points again. This week we have 4 games to do. 4 absolute fucking insane games. Thinking, you know what? I'm gonna release right after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but they've chosen to do that, so we're gonna guess some OpenCritic scores. Vitz,
Oh yes.
would you like to go first or would you like to go last? I'm going to give you the option this time of swapping places with me for these 4 games because going first doesn't seem to be working out for you so well.
It doesn't. May I go last, please?
So I'll switch places with you if you want.
Thank you.
We'll see if this works. If this works, we might have to rethink how we decide who goes when on OpenCritic. So I guess I'll go with.
Why don't you just rotate? So okay, there's 4 here. So why don't you go Vitz, me, Amy, me, Amy, Vitz, Amy, Vitz, Moody.
This already sounds too complicated. I don't think about it for next
Basically,
week.
just rotate. It just rotate us.
Just like right, you stay where you are, Mister. I've got 11 points to Amy's 3. Right, you don't get a say in any of this.
I'm just trying to help. Trying to help.
Like we're doing an experiment. We'll see what happens. If Vitz suddenly gets a shitload of points, we'll see what happens.
We're just booting you out, Moody.
Yeah, you're gone. Go away. What's that?
Performance.
What's that? You need to take a holiday. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna guess.
Just know it'll be 4 draws, right?
8 for Unicorn Overload.
Yes, the first game we're picking for is Unicorn Overload. If we miss that.
Moody, what score is Unicorn Overload going to get next week? Not your guess. What score is it going to get? Just tell me.
Just what this is what it's gonna get, huh?
Apparently this is what it's going to get. So just fucking game whisperer over here.
So I've just recently saw this game, and I was like, "Oh wow, that looks kind of lush." 85.
85. Vitz.
Let's go with 87, please.
What if, in this conversation between me and you, Vitz, what if, right, we make Moody go first, and then whatever number he picks, right,
One up, one down.
One low. I'm going one.
Yeah. Okay, right, let's do that.
Berserk Boy. This is the Mega Man X like game that I played at Steam Next Fest 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Sounds all right.
It's a pretty good demo. I'm going to guess 78. That's a 6. 8. There we go.
Numbers, how do they work?
Moody, Berserk Boy. I saw you copy it. The name.
Don't hide it. I'm just trying to see what this game is. That's all.
It's the Mega Man X game I talked about a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But with melee weapons. And you zip and you go bam. Like a grappling hook thing.
You got a wham and a bam and a ding dang dang.
Look right.
Indeed.
I hold information in my brain for as long as I need it, and then I expel it.
76.
As soon as we were done with that Next Fest segment, I forgot most of the information about the game.
Let's go 75, please.
Let's go 75. The third game we're going to guess is the Thaumaturge. I should have had something to say about this game, but I can't remember. I know it's being published by 11-Bit Studios, and it's a CRPG type game set in a place where some stuff happens.
Yes.
I looked this game up before we recorded, and I was like, you know what? If it wasn't Final Fantasy VII month, I might actually give this game a
The only
shot.
thing we can guarantee about this game is that everyone will have a different way of how to pronounce it. Some will go Thaumaturge, some will go Thaumaturge. There'll be all sorts.
75. That's my guess.
Mr. Moody.
So, Mary, what's this gonna get?
83.
Oh, damn.
83.
That's a big old window. Let's go.
You
Let's
gonna
go
crawl
80,
in?
please.
I mean, I was gonna say, are you gonna crawl in the window, or are you gonna stay outside? Because you got
80,
two
please.
options in your
80.
position. I know I'm looking for my mouse cursor. There it is. It's dark, all right.
Hey, it's fine.
And the last game we're gonna guess is WWE 2K24 series with a long and storied history.
The Rock is cooking,
Of
and apparently
being-
he's a fine chef. He's out there and he's chefing things up.
This is a game with a history of being awesome and never being broken and always like
Oh,
functioning
not once, yeah.
perfectly.
And always allowing their players to carry over their custom creations from one game to the other. Oh wait, no, they don't.
66. Maybe they've taken their time and it's going to work really well and it's not going to be buggy. I'm going to plant my flag in that this game's going to be buggy like the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm taking a chance. I'm taking a risk on that being the case.
80.
Moody is going the opposite direction. 80.
I would like to go with a middle of the road 75, please.
75. All right, cool. There's 4 games that we have guessed the OpenCritic averages of, and we'll come back next week and we'll see whether Moody got 4 points or 8 points.
Or somewhere in
Those are the only
between.
two options.
Somewhere in the middle.
The funny thing is, last week you said, "Oh, boy's come back and he's won all 3 points." Last week you said, so it's like, hey.
Yeah. Basically, this is how this game works. Like once you're on a roll, you're on a roll, and
Yeah, then you just
and then
stop.
eventually you'll stop being on a roll.
Yeah.
Considering it's a game about random chance and guessing numbers, like I don't know why that works the way I don't know, but it's consistently worked this way for years. So like I'm not sweating the fact that you're like on 11 and I'm on 3. It's like at some point this will end, and either me or Vitz will go on a fucking tear.
There you go.
Or Moody's
Well,
found
that-
the secret and we'll just continue to go on a tear for the rest of the year. And then this will be the last year we play OpenCritic Head-To-Head.
Yeah. Time to have a look at Fantasy Critic. We said we were going to do it this week.
Yeah, we've got like 2 minutes.
But no, then.
Yeah, we kind of went over talking about Pokemon and Resident Evil. Which is fine. I enjoyed those conversations.
Sorry, yeah.
But like we'll get to Fantasy Critic when we get to it.
We will.
Let's just wait for Alfie to be on positive.
She is.
Oh, it's already hit. Cool. Well, we'll talk about it next week.
Was it
you go.
released today? The
Yeah.
Final Fantasy released the.
We'll talk about it next week. I haven't looked.
Yeah. Friends, if you're dipping into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, try to avoid spoilers going out online. Or, yeah, just don't go online.
And don't fucking spoil me either.
Yes.
Beat you fucking.
And Amy will beat you up if you spoil things for me, too.
I will. It's true.
Yeah.
And I won't care.
and
I
Moody
don't
doesn't
care about
care.
spoilers.
because Moody's not going to play
But
it. So
don't spoil it for him either.
That's what he's not gonna play it. That's his secret.
That's my secret. I'm never playing these games.
My secret, Amy. I never play anything. I just Football Manager it all the time.
Sophia is actually the one who plays all of these games, and then she just gives you all of the notes, so you can sound like you know
Exactly.
what you're talking about. You're like, oh yeah.
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 Yeah,
Pokemon,
she's there
yeah, I know all
standing
about
with
that.
her signs, That's why I'm like this all the time. Yeah, so Pacific Drive,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
just an absolutely amazing game.
Like a
It
Dragon.
drove so smoothly, like if I was driving in real life and everything.
Like a Dragon was good, you say? Oh, okay. Like a Dragon was a really good game.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for episode 392 of the Words About Games podcast. Moody, hit me with whatever you're going to hit me with for the final words.
Everybody, look within yourself, because you are awesome. Have an awesome weekend, because we're all going to high five the sky. The industry may be burning, but we're going to help lift it up again. Stay, be awesome. Enjoy Final Fantasy. Don't spoil people. Don't spoil it.
Peace.
Fuck the Tories.
There it is.